Oh, and we do recommend approval with 9 conditions as well, too.
Christopher, you said nothing of importance on the internal and external agency. Typically, when I see something put in caps,
I said one important note is the transportation comment.
I'll look at something in caps, and I think it's important, the fire. What's their concern about fire hydrants, or was it just somebody got it stuck on caps lock?
That might be some on caps lock, because I don't have that in front of me.
That's not that important, Dale. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's usually if fire has something, then they really kind of bold it out instead of just being on
Okay.
caps lock. Yeah, actually, that might have been staff as well, too. We do copy and paste some of their comments, so.
Okay.
Oh, okay, well, there you go, so, yeah.
Caroline was denying it.
Yeah. But the applicant is here to do the presentation.
All right.
Good evening, Planning Commission. Hope you're all doing well. Josh Mahoney, attorney at Battle Law PC, located at 3562 Havisham in North Lake in Tucker, Georgia. Thank you for taking some time today to hear out all these matters. You guys are doing great. I do have a short presentation for you all this evening just to go through the highlights of this request. We are requesting a rezoning and future land use amendment, as Mr. Wheeler stated. Specifically, we're looking to change the future land use and rezoning to match what's already really going on in the area. As I go through my presentation, I'm going to get to those maps and we can hone in on exactly what we're talking about. But to start, let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and we'll talk a little bit about Pittman construction. So, Pittman construction has been around for a very long time, since 1884. That's 1884. They've been working in the Atlanta metro area for quite some time, and they've had their headquarters here in Rockdale County since 1960. I think they've been working since 1961. So they are a very well-established company here in the county. They employ 200 people, 100 of which are Rockdale County residents. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. We can take a look at the property that we're discussing today. So the property here is highlighted or outlined in red, mostly vacant. There is a single-family residence towards the middle there, but as you can see, we're fronting on Rockbridge Road. Just to the north of us, you've got Rockdale County Fire, Rockdale County Animal Control, and then just north of them, a company called Victory Trucking. To the west, no problem. To the west, it's all vacant, and then to the south, you start to get into some residential development. Important to note, just off screen to the north is the intersection of Rockbridge and Sigmund Road. And I point that out only because it's going to become important later, but just keep in mind, just off screen, Sigmund Road, major arterial, is right up there. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and we'll focus in here on our zoning and our land use. Mr. Wheeler already pointed out we've got R1 and R2 zoning on the subject property. However, property to the north, west, south is all zoned M1. That's allowing for light industrial uses today as of right. On the right side, we've got the future land use map. You'll see that the property has that residential future land use, but again, we look around, everything is either office institutional or industrial. That tells us that today, if we were to build according to the zoning in a couple years' time, those homes would be surrounded by industrial uses. The future land use almost guarantees that it's going to remain that way because we've got a solid plan here stating this is going to be industrial. So if you ask me, it does not make any sense whatsoever to plan for residential homes on these properties when everything surrounding it is going to be industrial anyways. Why not change the zoning and land use now to match what's there so that you don't create a situation where you have homes, single-family homes, butting up against a warehouse or a factory or something like that. That's what we're looking to do today. That's what we can do today. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. This is a zoomed in version of the site plan. You may have noticed the one that Mr. Wheeler showed. It included the entire property. A lot of the property is not going to remain vacant. So we've zoomed in here on the top half, the northern half of the property where the development will be taking place. You can see to the front of the property, that's the east side on Rockbridge Road, that's where the office building is going to be located, that yellow building that we've drawn there. That is where Pittman is looking to construct their operations and do their admin work, their office work. That's where that will happen. In the rear, we've got a couple buildings, some small warehouses that will be used for equipment storage, and a shop that will be used for equipment maintenance. No construction or anything like that will be happening on site. No mixture of materials, nothing like that. It's really just when equipment vehicles need to be stored or maintained, when they're not being used on a site, that's where they'll go. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So we've got some renderings here for you all. Starting with the top left, that is what you'll see as you drive by this property on Rockbridge. A very nice brick office building from the front. That is what you'll see. You'll also have some landscaping on either side of the building that will be shielding from view what you see in the back. And what we've got are those the shop and the small warehouses that we mentioned earlier. And then top right is just kind of a lenticular view showing kind of what it'd be like from a bird's eye. Let's keep going. We've got a little bit more information here about Pittman Construction. I mentioned that they've been around for a long time, but when you've been around for a long time, you become a pretty good company to work for. People tend to like you. And so what they've included in our presentation here is that they include several benefits for their employees, 401ks, profit sharing, and bonuses. They've got some job listings if anyone is interested. And lastly, and most importantly, Pittman is an equal opportunity policy company. They think it is very important to hire equally and give everybody equal opportunities in the hiring process. And so we're putting that out there for you all today. And then let's go on. We got one more slide I want to talk to you all about. So we've got some frequently asked questions about the business in Pittman. We've already kind of talked a little bit about how long they've been around for, but some other things to note here that they're looking to be open between the hours of 7 a.m., 6 p.m. More jobs coming here. But this last point here I want to talk about a little bit about, because I've received some questions from the community members about traffic. This being a construction company, I've heard some questions about truck traffic. Will there be truck traffic? How much? And what I can tell you all today is, and the number I'm about to tell you, I want to emphasize, equipment vehicles, not tractor trailers, but equipment vehicles. You can expect 20 to 25 equipment vehicle trips in and out per day. So we're not talking like there's a lot of truck traffic coming through here. What's actually going to happen here is the trucks will come into, sorry, this fly is getting me.
Somebody needs to kill
Been
it.
around for a while.
Yeah.
No, don't anymore with fellows
So-
in.
The trucks, I mentioned earlier that Sigmund Road is to the north. And what that means is trucks coming into and out of this property will have to go up north towards Sigmund to go anywhere. I mentioned also that the residential uses are further south down Rockbridge. So what's going to happen is the trucks are going to go north away from the homes, and when they're coming to the property, they won't actually approach those homes. They'll turn into the property before they even get
It's
to
like
those.
service trucks that you're talking about?
They're like construction equipment trucks. I don't know for sure, but I would guess like a concrete pouring type of vehicle. When they have to go to sites, they'll do their thing, and then when they have to come back, they'll be stored on this site and maintained on this site. So again, not tractor trailers or anything like that, and staying far away from the residences to the south, using that arterial road that they've got with Sigmund. And really, that's all I've got for you all. I don't think I have another slide after this, but if I do, okay, great. I'll reserve any time for rebuttal, and I'll take any questions you have. Thank you.
Too many questions for him.
I think the fly has a comment card.
The fly has a comment card.
Wants to
Okay,
say
I got
something.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Reserve the
Thank you.
time.
Thought I got them early, like I said.
Christopher, do we have anybody to speak?
No, we didn't sign up, we didn't get anybody to sign up for this, to speak in for or in opposite.
Okay, all right. Do you have anything further to add yourself? Christopher, do you have anything further to add?
No, sir, no, I don't have anything else to add to this,
Okay.
no.
I had one question then that I did not remember to ask, and that is there any running water on this property as far as creeks or?
No, not that I'm aware of. I got a couple representatives from the developer
Looking at the
here.
topo, and I didn't see anything that looked like it, but,
No, yeah, I don't think there is. I haven't seen anything on my review.
in that blue area in the very back.
Stormwater.
That's the stormwater.
That's
Oh,
right.
Okay. All right.
You know, just out of curiosity, given our recent events, do you all have any combustible storage?
No,
Okay.
You know, not storing chlorine for them that we don't know about.
absolutely not. No, so I mentioned we're not mixing materials. I was kind of
Okay.
trying to be delicate, but no,
Well, that's why we met at 1 o'clock today, it was because of them.
I understand. Yeah.
All right. If nobody's got any further questions for him?
No, sir.
The county is recommending approval with conditions, and we've got 9 conditions. Are you satisfied with the conditions?
We are good with all the conditions.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for item R5 to amend the comprehensive plan future land use map category from low-density residential to light industrial with the 9 conditions.
I hear a motion to approve with conditions as stated for the FLU 2024-06. Do I hear a second?
A second.
We've got a second. All those in favor of approval with conditions, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Looking for motion on the rezoning side.
Okay, and also, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for, on the rezoning side, from R1 single-family residential to R3 multi-family residential to M1.
That would
To
be
allow the
REZ
property-
2024-20.
Yes, REZ 2024-20, to allow the property to be developed with a construction company headquarters.
I've got a motion for approval with conditions. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Got a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Almost got him.
He's quick.
Like the requisition of plus water. Okay, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Don't run away. Continue with the meeting. Can I have order, please? Thank you, ma'am. Good sir. Oh, I love using that gavel. All right, on down the road here, we're on item R6, future land use 2024-7 and rezoning 2024-25 to amend the future land use map for watershed protection to medium density residential and to rezone 94.31 acres from WP watershed protection to AR agriculture residential to MRU mixed residential for a mixed residential development. Mr. Wheeler. Thank you.
Yes, sir. As you explained, this item before you is Flume Case 24-07 and rezoning Case 24-25. Subject property is 2245 Northeast White Road. The applicant is Ang Slack LLP. The applicant has two requests for you this evening. One is to amend the future land use map from WP watershed protection to medium density residential and to rezone 94.31 acres from WP watershed protection and agriculture residential to MRU mixed residential development. If you go to the next slide, please, you'll see the current zoning of the subject property. Again, as the star indicated, the property has a zoning category of WP as well as agricultural residential. If you go to the next slide, please. Again, you'll see the future land use is WP as well as medium density as well too. Next slide. This is the proposed development project summary. The applicant is requesting to build 199 units, 26 proposed single-family bungalow units, 107 proposed single-family detached units. We're looking at a proposed density of 2.1 units per acre. The minimum heated floor area, the immediate heated floor area, the applicant is looking between 1,200 to 1,800 square feet with a minimum lot size of 4,000 square feet, with a proposed typical layout of 4,830 square feet, meeting the code requirement. Of course, there would be a transitional buffer as well as a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk throughout the entire development. With all our applications, staff has asked for internal review as well as internal review of the application. If you go to the next slide, please. These are the external comments regarding this proposed development. Again, nothing major sticking out except for Department of Transportation asking for GDOT to coordinate a deceleration lane on Highway 138, as well as a deceleration on White Road should be at least 175 feet in travel lane and with a 100-foot taper. Staff has reviewed the application and staff does recommend denial of this application as staff believes that the proposed request does not meet the intent or the character of the subject area. So therefore, staff does recommend denial of both the future land use change and the rezoning change. However, as the Planning Commission chooses to recommend approval, staff does recommend approval with the following 15 conditions that's submitted to you for consideration. And the applicant is here if you have any questions for them. I'm sorry. The applicant is here to do a presentation. Do you have any questions of staff?
Anybody have any questions?
Not right now.
Not at this time.
If the applicant will come forward.
Okay. Good evening, Planning Commission. Hope you're all doing well.
Again.
Josh Mahoney, attorney at Battle Law PC, 3562 Habersham, Northlake in Tucker, Georgia. Here before you again, speaking on behalf of this applicant. I do have, again, another short presentation for you all this evening just to walk through the highlights. A couple things I want to get cleared up before I get started and while we're pulling up the presentation. It may have been lost in translation somewhere, but we submitted an updated plan. It reduced the number of lots from 199 to 173, which dropped the density from 2.1 to 1.7. I have that plan in this presentation for y'all to take a look at, but let's get there when we get there. So let's go ahead and get into it. We are asking again for the future land use amendment and rezoning. Specifically, we're looking to amend the future land use from watershed protection to medium density residential and rezone from watershed protection and agricultural to MUR. Next slide, we can take a look at the property. So we've already kind of looked at this with Mr. Wheeler's presentation. Property is located at the corner of Highway 138 and White Road in the northeast section of the county. Next slide, please. So yeah, again, we've got the zoning and land use. We can go ahead and skip over this. Okay, so this is the site plan that I was referencing. It is similar to the one that Mr. Wheeler showed in that it does not occupy the entirety of the site. 57 acres to the north will remain vacant. About 40 acres is where we are developing. 173 single-family detached homes, right? That's where that change came from. Originally, we had 199 mixed types of units, all single-family here, single-family detached, so we've got 173. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. So, there is a special condition kind of happening in the area that I think we need to take into consideration. Highway 138 is getting a new sewer line, right? That was being extended down Highway 138. And in April, the Board of Commissioners voted to approve the kind of increase in size of the extension. So not the extension, but increase the size of it to allow for here future development, somewhere to the tune of about $565,265.80. So it was not a cheap approval. This was contemplating future development, and I want to point out this is sewer, so the types of lots that would be on sewer, not septic. The manhole that was built as a result of this approval is shown there in these images. In the left picture, in the background, that field that you see, that is the subject property. That's this property. In the middle picture, it's really hard to see on this slide, but that's the intersection of White Road and Highway 138. So this is right on the subject property. And so, maybe I'm reading too far into this, but when I see this was approved for future development and then plopped down right on this site, it's almost as if the county is contemplating development on this property, right? I know that we have a conflict, though, between these facts and the comprehensive plan, right? The watershed protection area says, not a whole lot of density out here. But we're getting signals from the county that says, well, actually, we've also got medium density residential out here, and we've got we can create this sewer line here. So what we're doing, our application is to go into the medium density residential, which is in the surrounding area to the west, to the south. It's all medium density. Even a portion of the property that we have today is medium density. And so we just want to bring that up to the entirety of the property so that we can develop it out. Again, not even the entire thing, just the portion that we showed you. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Got some elevations for you all. We're proposing two car garage homes here. And then on the next slide, we've got kind of the smaller size homes. I think these is maybe what we referred to as the bungalows, someone referred to as bungalows. These are just still single family detached homes, just a little narrower than the other ones we were showing. I think that's, oh no, here we go. Okay. And then I do have a question to pose to staff. We've got two sets of conditions. As you all know, this hearing was postponed due to the tragedy that happened here. In that time, we've had one condition, one of the 15 conditions changed, and we were not notified of the change until we got the staff report. Condition 3 originally stated that we would not exceed 173 units. Condition 3 now states, and I can't see it from here, but it now states something to the tune of the density will be, and I think it says no less than 1 unit per 3 acres, which may be a typo. My reading of that means infinite density, so long as we don't go under 1 and 3 acre. And so I don't know why that changed. Obviously, that wouldn't work for the plan that we're proposing, so I'm not sure why it's included as a recommendation. We would need to go back to that original condition 3 if we were to move forward with some sort of approval. That's all I have for you all. If you have any questions, I'm here to help, and I'll reserve any time I have for rebuttal.
So, Chris, can we get the correct verbiage for item number 3?
No, that is the correct version. That is what we're referring to is is left out by accident, is we're referring to the WP, future land use comp plan. That's what we're referring to. So if you are going to approve, we would include condition number 3 in there. So again, the new condition is what we propose.
1 unit per acre.
Yeah.
My
1
question
unit
Yep.
per,
Again, it is density no less than 1 unit per 3 acres. So again, because we are trying to keep in line with what the comprehensive plan. So that's what we're referring to, the comprehensive plan of the WP area.
1 unit in 3 acres.
Yes.
That's what I thought the Water Protection Act called
And I
for.
apologize for not clarifying that, but that is what the intent of what that recommendation is. If you guys decide to move forward to approve it.
Because the Water Protection Act is what it is. And none of these layouts or these depictions show where the actual watershed is.
So if we go to the future land use map,
Did you show, is it in the future land use?
yeah, so the
Should be.
blue area on the future land use map to the right and on the left, actually, that is the watershed protection, both zoning and future land use district.
Right,
The blue, yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah.
You failed to mention that. You went right by that one real quick. Okay.
Oh, my apologies. So,
That's the only
yeah, that's what
question I
that is. And then I do, if I could just comment on that, on condition 3, I'm not sure I understand it. We're requesting a change to medium density residential. It really doesn't make sense to hold us to a lower density than what's allowed in
I think
medium
the
density.
Watershed Protection Act holds it regardless of the zoning, does it not?
Well, not to be argumentative, because how close it is to the water protection district, and so again, staff is trying to believe it would be holistic to stay within that character area. Even though, again, it is identified as medium density, however, the surrounding development, it does not hold to medium density. A lot of those lots are larger than 1 acre.
Where did the Watershed Protection Act come from? Was it that state mandated?
I do not quote me. I'll have to look it up and read the actual section.
I believe it was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know. I can. Well, when Mr. Kelchek can come up, he can probably give us a fact find.
I'm on the same board he's on, so trust me, it's a state mandated process with the Water Protection Act. So anyway, that being said, go ahead. Any other questions of him?
Well, did you want to change anything based off of the condition number 3?
No, again, my statement stands as is. If we're seeking a future land use amendment to change watershed protection to medium density and thereby increase the density that's permitted, if we got an approval with that condition, we wouldn't have accomplished anything. So I can't agree to accept that condition. It doesn't make any sense with what we're applying for.
But then if it's state mandated, my understanding is that there's nothing we can do about it anyway, correct?
Well, it's my understanding that this is the comprehensive plan. This is mandated by this is from the comp plan.
Yeah, it is. But again, it's not just because it's WP. It is not excluded from the rezoning process. So it's still a zoning category. It's still a future land use in our zoning ordinance. So they can still come before you and ask for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions of this gentleman?
I do. I know you mentioned this, but I think I missed it. So the number of residents is 199? That's what you are?
We're actually proposing 173 in our
it is.
latest plan.
Okay, so it is 173. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a large number of people that would like to speak. If there's any way to get a consensus, that would be fine. Otherwise, we're gonna have to extend the speaking or just be cut off at the end. So keep in mind, you got 10 minutes as a group, 20 minutes as a group to speak, and that's it. So first one I have is Mary Schaefer. Schiffler. Pardon?
Schaefer.
Schaefer.
I've lived in Rockdale County 69 years. We own 20 acres up in North Rockdale County off of White Road on further toward Georgia 20 area. We have always been in the water protection since it was brought about. We've had 20 acres. We've respected it. We have never tried to do anything that was against the regulations, understanding that it was one house per 3 acres. And I don't think it's as the purpose of the watershed protection zoning district is to protect the public health by setting standards for land use which will maintain and where possible improve the purity of water in the streams in the county that flow into the public water intake and reservoir. I don't think in all these years that things have improved so much that we can afford to go backward in protecting water for our citizens. If anything, I think we should protect it even more. It's been endangered just in the last few weeks. And I won't speak long because that's my point. I don't think it should be taken out of the watershed protection.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. The more applause, the less time. Daniel Forrester. Is Daniel no longer staying with us tonight? All right. George Kelichek. I will ask you to keep it brief.
Yeah, right.
Tell her what we know about the WPA.
I'm gonna tell you a lot.
No, make it quick.
All right, well, if you did not read.
Give me all of them. I'll pass them.
George Kelichek, chairperson, founder of the Haynes Watershed Foundation. If you look at this page, the Haynes Watershed is 56,682 acres. It starts in Gwinnett County. We get 68% of our water from Gwinnett, 10% from Walton, which leads into the Big Haynes Creek, which runs into your Randy Portner Reservoir. All right? So, just a few items. Number one, historically, in 1976, the ARC, Atlanta Regional Commission, approved this plan. In 1992, the U.S. Department of Corps of Engineers came in via Permit 404, Federal Permit 404, to establish the watershed, but also to protect it. The 4 counties, Gwinnett, Walton, Rockdale, and Newton, as you will see in your package, along with the 4 cities in the watershed, signed an agreement to protect the watershed. And this is section 206 of your UDO, by the way, all right? The necessary actions were taken to protect the integrity of the reservoir, the Randy Portner Reservoir, which is our potable drinking water. So Rockdale citizens do not have to buy water from other counties. We have our own water system. But it was to preserve the integrity and the intake. Right now, because of the conditions that have happened in Gwinnett and Newton counties, which you'll see in your packages, has exacerbated the silt conditions in our watershed. On Georgia 20, going from Rockdale to Newton County, there's a 108-year-old dam there called McElroy Mill Dam, which used to be a grist mill. Because of these conditions of the increased impervious surfaces and the degradation of the streams within this watershed, which have collapsed, have added over 30 feet acres or 30 football fields of silt behind the old McElroy Mill Dam. And you'll see the pictures. The USGS just completed a second LIDAR study Our first was conducted in 2012, and which we detected silt at that time in the northern neck of the reservoir. Now in 2012, they have measured an additional 40 feet acres of silt in the northern part of the reservoir. So we have letters from several of the cities and several of the counties already giving approval for a 100% federally funded assessment of the complete watershed, which has never been done. There were committees set up in 2001. There's a letter from Larry Kaiser at that time, who was your water director, to Norman Wheeler, who was your chairman of this county, saying if we don't take care of this watershed and continuing to not pay attention, the committees that were set up of those 4 counties and the 4 signatures that you have from the cities, those folks have died. Nobody's looking at the watershed anymore. That's why I formed the foundation in 2021, because we're going to have the Corps of Engineers coming in 2025 with a team of 7 people to give us a complete 100% federally funded assessment of the whole 56,862 acres that was provided to us. So I asked for complete denial of this housing development, which is not approved in the watershed. There is a slight information about 1 house per 3 acres, but with the continuing development in Gwinnett County and Walton County, and with the degradation of these streams, if we permit this development, your watershed will continue to collect siltation. Now, we do have good water flow coming through the system, but as we know, if we continue to not protect and form a new relationship with these 4 cities and counties, it's not going to be good for the future generations of Rockdale County. So that's why I'm standing here in opposition of this development, and I gave you all the historical data that you need to make a very wise decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Telchek. All right, Kimberly Jackson. Kimberly's gone. All right. Colby Jackson. You go with her?
No, let me speak on the R7.
Okay, R7 it is. Is this Mr. Morrow?
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Alvin Morrow. I live directly adjacent to this proposal development, the Northampton HOA. And gosh, watershed. 10 years ago, I bought my home here, retired, and looked long and hard. Got a nice realtor, took me out all through Atlanta, and I said, gosh, I want to be near, but I don't want to be in Atlanta and I want to be close to an airport, but I don't want to be able to hear planes taking off. So we finally, after months of searching and several trips, I was living in Seattle, Washington, we found this little cove out there. And you know what she told me? She said, this is great because, there's this zoning thing called watershed. I had no idea what she was talking about. But she said they could never, ever change or build anything around here. And you're going to have your nice little quiet community with no hassles. Like I said, I didn't know what a watershed was. Didn't care, actually. Still don't know much about it, but thanks to our new friend here. But what we do have is we are a watershed and AR, agricultural residential. The proposed, we're not against developing, but why, if they develop, I think that we should require that they maintain the same zoning. This is right adjacent to the Northampton subdivision, where, as we've said, the minimum for our, because ours have the AR designation, agricultural residential, the minimum lot size is 1 acre. There are some acres in some homes out there, lots that are approaching 3, but most of them are 1, 1.5, 2 acres. And so this is kind of mind-blowing. They're going to right adjacent to us, bring in 100 and, I don't know, 200 or whatever, and then if you think about the next project, R7 coming, that's another 300 homes or so. So, this proposed density that they're talking about, the math works out that these average lot sizes are 1/10 of an acre. 200 homes or thereabouts on 1/10 of an acre, where all of the land right adjacent to it are an acre, acre and a half, 2 acres. So we're concerned about that. We have a nice area out there. We have the beauty of being, it's actually hidden. If you don't know that Northampton out there, you'll never see it, because all of the wooded area, you see an entrance to the neighborhood, and you just drive right past it. Behind, back there are roughly 100 houses on about 300 acres. So, anyway, but what we really are asking, or requesting, we should probably, I request that you deny this rezoning request. And for all of the reasons we talked about, and for more to come, but, you know, the crowding, the safety, the infrastructure, traffic, all of those things are going to be compromised. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tracy Hayes.
I just want to say, we're crowded. We just need to deny this. Our schools are overcrowded. I have a daughter that works in the school system, and they are full, really full. They're, you know, everything's changing, and we don't need to. We need to protect our water. That's about it.
Thank you, ma'am. Lisa Hayes.
Hi.
Hi.
I just following up the same thing. I've been here my whole life. I'm 60 now. We've always abided by the 3 acres in North Rockdale. We've put up with all the restrictions and done everything that needed to be done. And I don't think it's fair for the community to bring all these houses in. You can't even get out on 138 now off White Road. Imagine putting all that in. So, in the sewage system, they had to do that because it's full of rock out there. But we need to hold to the 3 acre minimum. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. David Dowdell? David leave us? Ivy Gaden. Was that Ari?
Hello. So my reason for saying denying it
Thank you, ma'am.
is because I've been in Rockdale County for 23 years, but I've been on dialysis for 35 years. So the water is very important to me because I dialyze at home. If the water quality changes, it becomes less than optimum. It's harder to do the treatment. So we need to take into consideration people that are using that water for medical procedures, like myself. We're doing dialysis. So as we start to add more and more people to the equation, and like someone mentioned earlier, you're not buying more land. We're over taxing the infrastructure and the water. And so this becomes a human issue, a health issue, that we need to take into consideration when we say yes and no. If there's only so much land, there's only so much development we can do and still maintain quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Daryl Haynes or
Good afternoon. My name is Darrell Haynes. I'm the vice president of the HOA at Northampton, and I'm gonna make it real short. Pretty much is I'm here for the denial of this development or this project based on a few items, but I'm gonna go through one major one, which is the lack of emergency services for the growing community that we have. Okay. Right now, response times for police, sheriffs, fire department, and ambulance is stretched at their max. If you keep adding more homes to this county and not growing these agencies, the response time is going to become greater, and that's going to cause, harm to people. Secondly, we need to adopt a measure in this county where just anybody just can't come in here and just throw a design of a home up that doesn't match what's already here. Like I said, I've only been here 11 years, but I moved to Rockdale because of the way it was. Now it's starting to be like, okay, this empty corner, and I'm just going to throw up 200 townhomes, cookie cutters. You're changing the diameter, the dynamics of this county on somebody else's because of somebody's need to wealth or whatever, how you want to put it. But we really need to slow down and try to figure out how we can make this work for everybody. Because you have people here, taxpayers, people in this county that pay taxes, okay? And I think they deserve more than just having some developer come in here and just throw something up and, here, this is what you have to have. So I'm gonna make it short. Thank you. And
thank you very much. Kathy Breedlove.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. We bought our property, our 5+ acres in North Rockdale in the Terrace Ridge subdivision in 1987. And it was zoned AR. Later, our zoning was changed to watershed protection. My understanding is that watershed protection zoning was and is important to protect the water in the reservoir. Some things about the watershed protection zoning we liked, some we didn't. We did like the 3-acre minimum lot size. We, along with our neighbors, abided by the restrictions that were put upon us. We have enjoyed living in our quiet, somewhat rural area for 36 years. Now there's a request to abandon the watershed protection zoning and replace it with mixed residential usage. Why would the watershed protection zoning no longer be important? Are we going to protect the water or not? Is it any less important to protect the water now than it was decades ago? What about the increased traffic, which is times is horrible to get from White Road to 138? What about the schools? What about utility capacity? As residents in the watershed protection zoned area in North Rockdale, my husband and I strongly oppose changing the zoning at 2245 Northeast White Road.
Thank you, ma'am. Philip Tidwell.
Chairman Board, appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I deny this and ask that you folks deny this because the preservation of Broward County and what we've had in the past is going away very quickly. You look around about the county as you see what it is right now. You've got developments, you've got homes going up, townhouses, etc. All of our infrastructures and everything else are being used. It don't seem to me that the planning committee or whoever's in charge of it is looking at the picture as a whole. When we start developing here, right out of town, then we start getting development further out, such as in our area at White Road 138. As has been said, traffic is horrible. I can't come out of my road without the fear of being run over with my wife and my family. Congestion, commercial traffic coming through there now. there's even more of it that's happening all the time. Nobody's policing it. There's not even a sign up that's telling people coming down the road, especially new people in the area, that tells them that there's traffic entering into that highway. We need to do something about this, and we need to stop this, and we need to have some more thought before we let our community, get our county get into further states than what we have right now. I think we're about full up with what we have, so I would like to request that this zoning stay where it's at and the MRU be denied. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. Marcia McCullough.
Good evening. My name is Marcia McCullough. I live at 3310 Old Highway 138, which is approximately 1/4 of a mile from White Road. I am here in opposition of the development at White Road. We do not want this in our community. We are a watershed protected community. Me and my husband have lived in our house for 22 years. The property that we live on has been in his family since the 40s. We've raised our kids here, we have lived here, and we love our community. The Planning and Zoning Commission, including our Board of Commissioners, need to start listening to the citizens of Rockdale County. We are important. We want to be heard, and we need to be heard. And my opposition for this alone, for protecting our water, is our schools, and not only our schools, but our traffic. Just last Thursday a week ago today, there was an accident between the bottom half of our road and the top half of our road that shut down Highway 138 for over 2 hours. Though people think they can come down our road and get around the traffic, get around the accident. 138 is like a raceway, day in and day out. It doesn't matter if it's 5:30 in the morning or if it's 5:30 in the afternoon or 12 o'clock during the day. I please beg you to deny this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ron Ramsey.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. I built out here in 1973. I live on 2840 White Court, which is the first street off of White Road, right in behind where they talk about putting this this thing in. I believe the zoning is correct at A&R, and I see no reason to jump it up to R3, which is what they're talking about. And when you go up and down White Road, the only houses you see are single-family dwellings on 2.5 or 3 acres. So this should be totally denied.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Were these 2 red ones because we ran out of orange?
They just took the wrong one.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming that Chad Childers will speak in opposition. Is that correct, Mr. Childers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How y'all doing today?
Fine.
We moved out here 18 years ago, and we live right on 2815 White Court, right across from Ron Ramsey. And this will be the view from my back porch if this happens. And we moved out here 18 years ago because of this watershed protection, so we can live where we live and enjoy what we enjoy. And please help us. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Beth Smith.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Beth Smith. I live on 2750 White Road. I live on a large plot of land, and I am a Georgia native. I grew up in DeKalb County, and I moved to Conyers because DeKalb County is overrun. And I'm hoping that you deny this application because I moved out to Conyers for the simple fact that we wanted to be in an area where it wasn't overcrowded. My husband and I enjoy where we live. We don't want to leave our house and go up to 138 and have to fight through traffic, have to fight through trash that he goes up and down White Road and picks up every day. We really want to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood. The house I moved into was built in 1979. I didn't move to a new subdivision in Rockdale. I didn't move into a new house in Rockdale. I moved to an existing house that was already here, and I'd like for the county and the area that we live in to stay as it is. So please deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Please note that we received a number of emails in opposition to this, and we will have them entered into the public record. One from Joy Russell, Thomas Russell, Mark Jacobs. No, he's supposed to be up here. Doug Witham. And Teresa Witham and Carl Moore. All of those were. Well, we got your email too, but we didn't get a card filled out.
I did fill out a card. Not for a different item. It's another symbol. There's the White Road and the Highway 138.
There's a next one, so.
Those are the two emails.
Yes, sir. So for point of clarification, again, he did sign up to speak for the matter beforehand, but we did receive these items related to this one as well.
They will go into public
they're
record.
going to record. So it's essentially if you
asking
sign
it
up speak
to be
for both of
denied.
them. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. We'll just put it on the record that he signed up for all three, and we still have this as well too.
It'll be duly noted in the record. All right. I guess we're looking for a rebuttal from the.
Good evening again, planning commissioners. I say it every time I'm here and I hear opposition. The community in Rockdale County is very passionate, and I've been here several times now. I know they're all very passionate about development in their community. My clients are also very passionate about development. They are not looking to come in and be a nuisance to anybody. We have a plan that we showed you all this evening that we feel it does go a ways to helping protect watershed, and I'm going to explain that because I know not everybody will agree with me. This starts with the fact that this property can be built upon. I think we all agree with that. To the density of about 1 unit per 3 acres. A development like that would yield maybe 25 to 30 units spread out across the entire 95 acres. The road that would be required to accommodate each of those lots would stretch all the way back into the watershed protection area. You would have additional, the homes that are built on those lots. Anything that they add to those would all contribute to stormwater runoff back in that area, way back on the property, deep into the watershed protection area. So what we've tried to do is balance the need to protect the water, which we recognize, with bringing some density to Rockdale County. And we did that with what's really a city planning principle, where you take your homes, you take the lots, you shrink them down, and you position them, in this case, towards the street, as far away as we can get from the watershed protection towards the street. That kind of strikes a balance between protecting water by staying away from it and bringing homes that we really need to the county. And so I'm not sure if someone was asking a question to you or me or what.
You're speaking to me right now.
Sure. And so really that's what we're trying to do with this plan. That's what we presented to you all. Now, I've got some additional facts that I'd like to present to you all because I heard some concerns about things like the schools. In our application, you'll see some numbers that were given to us by the school board. Projected enrollment And let's keep in mind, they were working under the 199 unit plan. So they've got projected enrollment for one of the schools at 1435 with a capacity of 1500. So that's lower. 952 for another school is a projected versus the capacity of 1242, deficit of about 250. And then lastly, projected enrollment 511 with a capacity of 760. So if these numbers that we're getting from the school board are correct, the school capacity isn't an issue here. I'll go ahead and admit to you all, I heard traffic as a concern. We don't have a traffic study today. However, should this be approved, we are required to get a traffic study to bring with the preliminary plat. We will be required to implement any traffic mitigation recommendations that come about as a result of that traffic plan before we're ever able to get approved for a preliminary plat. I think with that, I've heard some other concerns. I think I will just leave it there. I do just want to emphasize that, we agreed that the water needs to be protected. We thought this was a creative way of doing it. If you disagree with that, we completely understand and will accept your recommendation this evening. Thank you.
I have a question before you leave.
One more question.
You mentioned the school system. You said that there wasn't going to be an impact, but the Board of Education said the lack of data on predicted per unit average student. I think you were here, but basically it's talked about it prohibits predicting the school's full occupancy. So basically, being a concern, potential concern.
So I'm not sure what you're referencing. I was referencing some numbers that I got from the board in our application. Are you looking at something else?
I'm not sure. We were looking at it's an internal and external agency review so I'm not sure.
And to be clear, I wasn't saying there'd be no impact. The projected enrollment was projected to be higher than what's current with the current enrollment. Just the numbers I had, they still showed to be lower than the capacity.
Yeah.
You got something else?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, so to explain what the Board of Education submitted is, so right now, current enrollment, just to say CHS is the 1,374. The projected with this development built out would be 1,435. The current capacity currently right now is 1,500. So what they're saying is if it's built out total, if this project moves forward, built out, they would think that the total amount of new children, including this project, would be 1,435. So they have a capacity at 1,500, so it'll be below capacity.
Okay, then what is it says predicting the school's full occupancy. Why would they say that?
It depends. Is it the lack of data? That is something, the information that they provided. I do not know why, but that is the information that they provided to us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for the applicant?
Just one more. This type of development, have you been able to be a part of this in other counties?
In watershed.
Yeah, the watershed protection.
In watershed,
side. Yeah.
I've seen some. Yes, I've seen some. One jumps into mind in Henry County. I am not sure whether they decided to go ahead with that, but we were working with the planning department on that. The idea there was on property with environmentally sensitive features like a stream buffer, in this case the watershed protection area, you would plat out the entire property with the maximum number of homes you could get per the density to show what that number is, and then you shrink the lots down so that it's density neutral. That's kind of how Henry County approaches that, to balance, like I said, balance density and protecting the environment.
Okay. And you're not sure what the result
on that
was?
particular project? No, I don't know how that's played out. That was a year or two ago.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Christopher? Anything else?
No, sir. I don't have anything else unless you have something that you want to ask of me.
Nope. Discussion or motions?
No discussion?
Motions?
Make a motion. I'm going to go in the order based off of the reasons why. Based on the lack of compatibility with the surrounding uses, the potential impact on traffic patterns, as well as the potential environmental impact due to the watershed protection, I'd like to make a motion to deny the request to amend the comprehensive plan future land use map category from low-density residential to light industrial. That's rezoning 2024-20.
We've got a motion to deny REZ 2024-25. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Al seconds. All those in favor of denial say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And actually, let me, did I do
Make the
that?
other motion on
I think,
FLU?
no, I think I said that. Did I do the
You have to
right?
do them separate.
No, I'm saying, did I do the right one?
Yeah, you did the zoning.
We did rezoning 2024, 25.
Yeah, that's what.
right.
Sure.
I,
No, that's
I
fine.
think the recommendation I heard was actually for a
This
previous
is-
matter.
Yep, this one. That was the wrong one. Let me redo it.
All right.
Okay. Based on the lack of compatibility with surrounding uses, the potential impact on traffic patterns, as well as the potential environmental impact by being in the watershed protection district, I'd move to deny the request to amend the future land use map for watershed protection to medium density residential, rezoning case 2024-25.
No. FLU 2024-07.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2024, yeah.
I've got a motion to deny FLU 2024-07. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Mr. Ford seconds. All those in favor of denial say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Okay, and the second one is, based on the same conditions, I would like to, I'm sleeping, I'd like to make a move to deny the request to rezone 94.31 acres from watershed protection and AR agricultural residential to MRU mixed residential uses for a mixed residential development. That is rezoning case 2024-25.
I've got a motion to deny REZ 2024-25. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Mr. Ford seconds. All those in favor of denial say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. R6 denied.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, this is it. I think I'm showing you those are the things I got out of that class.
All right, everybody, keep quiet. We're going to continue. We've had a long night. Come on, guys. Please. Go ahead.
Good evening again. The next case is REZ 2024-19. The property address is 3031 Northeast Highway 138, and the applicant is Andrew Ship. The applicant is requesting to rezone a 230.35 acres of a 353-acre property from AR, agricultural residential, to MRU, mixed residential uses. The current zoning of the property is AR, and it is surrounded by WP, which is a water protection district, and AR zoning. The future land use of the property is medium density, and that is also surrounded by WP and medium density residential. To summarize the case, the applicant is requesting a rezoning to develop a residential community with 230 units, where track 1 will have 200 single-family residences, and track 2 will have 30 single-family residences, with a proposed density of 1 unit per acre, which by code is allowed up to 8 units per acre. The applicant is also proposing to have a 96.35 acres of permanent green space, creating a buffer of almost 500 feet to the adjacent neighboring properties. The applicant is also proposing amenities, including 2 fishing ponds and walking path. We have received all external reviews, and there is no impact on the school system per the education department. Standard fire and stormwater requirements. Transportation, however, requires a deceleration lane and a traffic study. And water and sewer stated that there is water main along Highway 138 Northeast, and the public wastewater is currently being constructed along Highway 138 to White Road. Staff, however, believes that the proposed project better meets the intent of CRS, which is the Collaborative Residential Subdivision. The project's proposal to preserve the 96.35 acres of green space is in conformance with the goal of the CRS district. So staff believe that CRS zoning would be appropriate in this location with a combination of larger and smaller lots, as it serves a better transition from the watershed protection to the single-family residential subdivision to the southwest. So by rezoning the property to CRS is in conformance also with the future land use category of medium-density residential. We have spoken with the applicant, and he was in agreement with our suggestion. So with that, staff had recommended approval with 14 conditions to rezone it to CRS. So one condition to note, though, is number 1, which states, the site shall be developed in general conformance with the submitted site plan and convey with collaborative residential subdivision, CRS zoning district, if adopted. So,
I think we had the old one. Yeah.
You're good?
I think we had the old
We
one.
must have the old.
Yeah, we don't have the copy of the new one.
This was sent in the second email to you guys once we spoke with the applicant.
About the time I ran out of ink.
So the recommendation is approval with conditions.
Approval with 14 conditions, I believe.
But you happen to have a copy of that?
REZ 202-19.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Approval with conditions.
So staff recommends approval with conditions of the request to rezone the 230.35 acres of the 353.04 acre property from AR to CRS for a single-family residential development with the following conditions. And number 1 is the condition that states the, pardon?
So you're
I'm not-
changing
I'm
it
not
from
going to.
MRU to CRS?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything else?
No, but we,
I'm not sure I'm following how you got out of the WPA.
So this property is, majority of it is not located in the WP. It's located in medium density residential. So the idea is, again, if you go back, is to create a transition for the small, so from the small lots to the larger lots. Because again, it is not part of it, maybe a third. As you can see, a sliver of it is in the WP. Everything else is still agricultural and still medium
It's
density.
still in the watershed, though, is it not?
No, sir. No, it's not. It's not. It is not located in the, only a sliver of it in the, most of the, that's the part where it's in the green space, that is in the WP. Everything else is medium density. So therefore, staff is figuring out a way, would be a transition into to larger lots as it gets closer to the WP to try to keep that character area. However, right now it is located, it is medium density. So therefore, medium density calls between 2 to 4 units per acre. So again, staff is trying to create a transition as you go north to the county, is to have larger lots. Therefore, that's why we recommended to have those larger lots abutting the smaller lots, the WP, next to the WP area, is to create a transition instead of just having smaller lots. Sorry, yeah, sorry. That's the idea. Again, we're trying to find a balance from what the applicant is requesting and what I know the community would look for, like to have more larger lots in that area.
It's right across the highway from the White Road property.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So again, the difference between the previous one, again, that project, half of the majority of that property was in the WP. This property is a sliver of it is in the WP. Everything else is still agricultural and it's still medium density. While the other property, majority of that was in the WP area, where only a portion, maybe less than a third of that was medium density. So there's two different distinct going on between
Let
the
me
White
ask you
Road
this,
and that.
this may sound like a stupid question,
No.
but it's not a stupid question.
No, sir, no.
Does water know the difference when it gets to the WPA?
Does the water? Yes. If
The water does not know the difference.
Well, I would.
But it's part of it. The sliver of it is in it.
Yes, sir.
You're
But
still going to have a condition for pollution.
Yes, sir. But we're talking about zoning here. We're
Okay.
talking about from a staff perspective. If you want to
Okay,
include
I
that,
gotcha.
you can. But
I
from a
gotcha.
staff perspective, is zoning.
I think you know
compared to
where I
us.
stand on
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
All right.
I said, but from a staff perspective, we can take that in consideration. But the most important consideration we have taken in consideration is the actual zoning of the property and the future land use of the property.
I understand.
That's where we stand. Again, if you want to add any other caveats, you're more than welcome to do so.
Okay. We got any cards?
Yes, sir. I believe we do. Oh, yeah. I'm
No,
sorry.
yeah, rebuttal.
Yeah.
Here.
We're all over the place.
I feel like I've been watching a wrestling match.
Well, you're about to. Chris, Christopher, these are ones from the previous R6. You give me the R7s. And I've moved Mr. Jackson. He has to be moved to the R7 card. So we're good for that.
Okay.
Name, sir?
Andy Ship.
You sound like a good wrestler's name.
I'm here with my business partner and friend Wendell McNeil.
Mr. McNeil.
And, of course, everybody knows Mark Walton,
Oh.
the engineer, and our home builder, Kyle Telebar with Fisher Homes. I'd start off, I'll give you a little introduction to try to explain our logic so that you don't think we're crazy. And then I'll tell you about the project. Wendell and I actually, well, first of all, I'm a lifelong resident of Conyers, live on Ship Circle, Conyers, been here a while. Wendell's had businesses here for 45 years. So we love the county just like you do. We just didn't wingtip in here. So the weird part is that Wendell and I met because Randy Pointer of Randy Pointer Lake appointed Wendell and I in 1989 to the first land use committee. Were you? You weren't on
No,
that.
on the next one.
So Wendell and I met at this land use committee that lasted for 3 years. And in that committee, during that process, that's where we decided to do the WP. That's when it was written. So we feel like we owned the WP. We were there when it was birthed. We were part of a committee, but we were there when it was birthed. So the last thing we would ever do is defile that land use. It makes sense if you understand everybody who lives here is driven out there. Well, you drive up a hill, and then at the top of that hill is a cell tower on our property. That cell tower is the high point, and that's where the watershed protection starts because water, just like poop, only flows downhill. So the top of the hill is the cell tower. Water flows to the north towards Costley Mill, and then it flows south where we're developing the property. So it seems stupid, but if you look at the topo, we couldn't even shoot water up and over the hill. So that's the reason in our plan that you'll see in a minute, we left 122 acres that includes 20 acres of watershed protection out of the rezoning. We're not asking for rezoning on 122 acres. That's not at all being rezoned. I want to say something first because I know you guys know this, but I think it's important to say. When you walk in with a rezoning packet, okay, you don't realize it, but this guy is not a nice guy. He's nice to you, but when I walk in, he's not nice, okay? He will kick you in the teeth. And so will Carolina, even though she looks sweet, she's not sweet. So when I walked in with my plan, my first plan, and I presented the packet, and they meet with you, okay? They have a meeting. They look at you and say, you're stupid. This is a stupid plan. We're never going to approve it. So you go out with your tail between your legs and you go back to Mark and you say, Mark, they told me I was stupid. They're never going to approve the plan. So then you come back with another plan. And they look at that and they go, yeah, that's still stupid. So then we go back and change it again and we come back. So they know what sustainable development is. They know all the code. They know all of that stuff. So when we first applied, it was 347 lots. That was the stupid. So don't do that. So we kept coming back and reducing and reducing and reducing. And we finally got to this plan. So that's the first thing. Everybody needs to understand you just don't walk in, they give you whatever you want. It's not the way it works. Second thing to understand is every 10 years, all of the citizens participate in redoing the future land use map. This is a legal document. So when people say we need to come up with a way to develop the county, we need to think this through, trust me, we have spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars redoing the future land use map every single year. And so these future land use maps that show medium density residential, they had charrettes, which is a little breakout session. But anyway, all these people, you come, they have public hearings. These are legal documents. This is not just fly-by-night stuff. So the medium density is a legal document. That's what's allowed. What's allowed is more than we're asking for. So anyway, I just wanted to start off with that. So this property is named in Rockdale County for a reason. It's got rock on it. We know it's got rock on it. We have been out there and punched 80 billion holes all over the property. So in land use, in our rezoning categories, they have categories that are designed for properties with issues, environmental issues. So the staff says, hey, this isn't going to work the way you did it. So you come back, which is what we did over weeks and weeks and weeks. And we said, okay, it looks like the best category to describe what you're trying to do is collaborative residential subdivision. You can't change your application, but we can change it, or the commissioners can change it, I guess more accurately, if you're willing to go along with it. And I said, yes. And he said, what we want is we want a transition. You got 122 acres. It's never going to be, it's going to be developed with probably one house or maybe a church. And then you go to 2 acre lots for phase 2. And then you come to phase 1, which is surrounded by 96 acres of green space. 2 fishing ponds that'll be permanent forever. And just to give you an idea, like 96 acres is nothing, because I've heard it's nothing. Costly Mill is 75 acres.
And
okay?
speak to the commission, please, sir.
I'm sorry. Costly Mill is 75 acres. Johnson Park is 52 acres. So it's 2 Johnson Parks almost. It's not a meaningless chunk of land. Further, we're no longer providing any access, potential access, to Fern Ridge Drive, the neighbors to my east. So they will have next to them, instead of the 50-acre buffer that's currently allowed, it goes up to as much as 500 feet, depending on which one of those lines you measure from. But that's permanent and forever. That's a place for wildlife to live. That's a lot of habitat forever. So I guess what we wanted to say, and we'll reserve the rest of our time, but we believe that this is what smart, sustainable development looks like. You use what you have, you preserve what you can, and you give everybody a better quality of life. All we're doing, we currently have density that allows 230 lots. The only thing we're doing is changing the shape of those. We're squeezing them around, but it's the same 230 lots that we're currently allowed. So we're not asking for any more density, but we need the flexibility to rearrange our density to accommodate these features. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's see.
All right, first card we have is for Rachel Scott.
Hello, I'm Rachel Scott. I live at 2080 Gleaton Road. I can't tell exactly from the plan, but I believe there's only 2 houses. Yes, thank you. There's only 2 houses on unpaved section of Gleaton Road. I'm one of them. I'm that little yellow house at the end of the road that was built in 1900 that I bought 3.5 years ago to begin restoration on. And at that time, I looked at the maps. I looked at the proposed land use maps. I looked at the long-range zoning maps. And it all said the same thing as what it was. It didn't say, and in 3 years, we plan to put 2,000 people next door to you on 200 acres. Of course, a major concern at this intersection is traffic. And one of the big concerns I had, and I still can't find, somebody's going to tell me, is the proposal for the entrance and exit to this subdivision on Gleaton Road across from my house. Is that what that little green thing is? Does anybody know? Okay. Yeah, the only thing that I would like particularly to request is that there not be an entrance or an exit from this subdivision onto our 1.5 lane road. And that 1.5 lane road runs from 138 on one end to Dennard on the other. It's about a mile long, mile or 2 long. And my guess is that all of that traffic from that subdivision will be funneled onto this one street neighborhood road that run, and it will become a thoroughfare. This is literally a neighborhood. People walk, we get out, we visit with each other, people stop on the road and talk, and that, I mean, if you want to dump all the traffic out on 138 and put a stoplight at White Road across from this place, which is where it's going to be, I mean, there's wrecks in that section all the time, but I would just ask that you not dump the traffic from 300, 200 homes out onto Gleaton Road. And obviously, there's the same effects from this development as every other development that's been talked about tonight, and we've been here for 6 hours. So, you know, traffic, the infrastructure, the schools, and whether or not people say that the report from the Board of Education today says that they're not over capacity. They will be over capacity once you put 300 houses here and 300 houses down at Oglesby Bridge and 300 houses over there, and we build, you know, a 20-unit townhouse complex that literally, as somebody was saying, you know, backs up onto 138. I mean, there has to be controlled development. I don't think anybody in this room doesn't want any development. We like Rockdale County. That's why we live here. We just want to continue with the quality of life because we know that's why it's a good place to live, is because of the quality of life that we all came here to live for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Douglas Witham.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I was a little confused earlier, and I probably confused everyone else because I was considering these last two as kind of one.
I stay confused. Go ahead.
A couple things. Rachel just said some of them. I get out in my golf cart and I ride up and down. Oh, can you throw that map back up there? Because there's one thing kind of missing. We talked about White Road, and you see that little thing that comes into the side? That's Gleaton Road. That's where Rachel lives. I live at 1891 Gleaton Road in a house that we built in 1989. I get out in the evenings on my golf cart with my grandkids, and we ride up and down the road, and we say hi to our neighbors, and we talk, and the same way Rachel was describing it. And I walk my dog on Gleaton Road several nights a week. You put a couple hundred, no, more than a couple hundred, put 600 cars in there and have them come out onto Gleaton Road, there's going to be no more riding on golf carts and saying hi to your neighbors. There's going to be no more walking my dog on Gleaton Road. When we built where we built, it was zoned AR, and that's one of the reasons we found it attractive. It had the kind of lifestyle that goes with that kind of zoning we thought was really attractive. Most of our homes are somewhere between 1 and 10 acres. To allow, I'm begging you, do not allow a developer to come in and change that environment for all of us so that he can make money. I think that's wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly Jackson. Well, you've already been. No. Nope. Kimberly Jackson? Nope. Okay.
I've never done this. I just need 1 minute.
Well, you need to fill out a card. If you help. We're short on time as it is now. Colby Jackson.
We're supposed to have 10 minutes or 20 minutes? That's 10.
We had 20 when we started. This one was 10. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, members of the council, fellow residents, thank you for joining me the opportunity to speak here today. Before I stand to you as a concerned member of the community, a community we take pride in quality and safety and the well-being of its residents. We gather here today to voice our deepest concern about the proposed construction of new homes in our area. While the growth is inevitable and often necessary, the sustained growth is also should always be our goal. Unfortunately, I feel like the proposed developments do not reflect what the people of the community want. The current infrastructure in our area is already rapidly expanding and putting pressure to meet the demands of the already existing population. Our roads are congested, our schools are overcrowded, insurance is through the roof, and access to basic utilities such as water and electricity becomes strained. What will happen when 300 more homes are added to the equation? Where all the extra cars go, the roads in the area are not set up for traffic as it is, where our children get the attention we need to overcrowded classrooms, and more importantly, we have the resources to accumulate the influx of new families. Beyond infrastructure concerns, we also need to consider our natural resources. I know this is not it's not a part of the watershed, but yeah, it is. Anyway, under the new proposal, we are facing the possibility of having no limit on all in the watershed. It is not alarming, but it could have serious impacts of our environment and the health of our ecosystem. Removing these protections would put our water supply and our natural landscapes at risk, threatening the balance and the defense of us all. I'm not asking for the development in this community to stop entirely. I understand that progress is important. However, we must take a step back, evaluate the real and long-term impact of the project. Are we sustaining growth, or are setting ourselves up for failure? I urge the council to consider the timeline and the scale of this project. Before we break ground on new neighborhoods, we need to first build the foundation, invest in roads, schools, utilities, and the services that ensure our community can thrive. This is not just about new homes, it's the value about the future of our community, the well-being of our families, and the preservation of the lifestyle we all cherish. Let's work together and ensure the development aligns with the needs of the people that already live here. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. William Finch.
Thank you very much. I'm William Finch. I've lived here in Rockdale County since 1954. Went to school here. I went to school with Mr. Shipp's brothers. I live on Costa Mill Road, and this would not affect me at all. It would affect all these good people here. And that's what I'm here for, is to speak for them. The traffic is terrible in this area. And I've had a good friend of mine pass away on this road many years ago, right there at Costa Mill Road Bridge that goes over Big Haynes Creek. I told Randy Pointer one time that if he got us into the Atlanta metropolitan counties, which I think at that time there was 5 or 6. I told him I did not appreciate him doing that, and I would not vote for him again. And Randy and I was good friends in high school, and actually double dated as well on some. But I told him I wouldn't vote for him again if he put us in the metropolitan Atlanta. I was totally against that all along. I was in road construction, and I've done a lot of projects in this state. I've worked in every county but 5 in the state of Georgia. Also, he did a great job when we did the reservoir. I worked on some of the committees with neighborhoods, and we fussed and argued about 3, 5, 10 acres on what it should be in Rockdale County in the watershed protection. I'm fortunate enough to have 30 acres over there. My property backs up to Big Haynes Creek. I have 2 sister-in-laws, their property backs up to Big Haynes Creek. A good friend of mine, he has, I think, 30 acres it backs up to Big Haynes Creek. But all of us are losing property because of George is telling you the truth. The erosion, I'm backed up to Big Haynes Creek. On the other side of Big Haynes Creek, of course, is Newton County. That was one of the proposals at that time that I liked, not because my property was there, we was going to donate our property to the county. We was wanting Newton County and Rockdale County to build a big reservoir. And it didn't happen. I think the county had too much pride to have another county be partnership. But anyway, make a long story short, we're losing property, and I've already estimated we've probably lost 3 to 4 acres of property because the erosion is on my property. In Newton County, the people over there are gaining property. And if you let this thing go through, I think that there's things that should happen. Gleaton Road should not have any problems of having traffic on their place, even if we have to close that road at 138.
All right. Thank you, sir.
And also, we need to have the developers from now on start putting in their own red lights and not let the state of Georgia pay for it, and not let Rockdale County taxpayers pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is that the time bell I heard?
Yes.
Got 2 more cards. All right. Kathy Breedlove. She's gone. Okay. The last card is George Kelichek.
In doing so, can you please tell me how much time you want to put on to extend for those who want to speak? We have to give a time limit.
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay.
That's what you got.
It's already started. I haven't even
3
started.
minutes. Just stare at the clock.
Let's look at the math, folks. Atlanta Regional Commission, we've got 95,000 residents here now. You're going to go to 112,000 by 2040. It's only 17,000 folks coming here. Okay? You've got 6,500 houses that haven't come out of the ground yet. And all due respect to these developers here, they want to put in a couple of extra hundred. I mean, you would think these folks would want to do their research to see how many folks are going to move here by 2040. It's my understanding 60 acres here that's going to be developed is going to be clear cut. When deforestation occurs, much of the carbon dioxide stored in the trees is released back into the atmosphere, and which contributes to climate change. Okay, we're not talking about oxygen. You cut the trees, carbon dioxide increases. So, who's going to maintain the ponds? Department of Natural Resources? HOA? The developer? Who's going to stock the fish? Are there going to be fish in the ponds? don't know. I haven't heard anything. Look at the design. It's from 1947 again, Levittown. There's no imagination in this. Remember, imagine the 25 through 29 Reimagine Rockdale County plan says that we want to have arts and entertainment in our neighborhoods and communities. Don't see anything. Now, all due respect to Mr. Shipp, because I know his brother very well. But I would ask, for a few of these questions to be answered to have a better development here in Rockdale County. Also, remember sewerage I talked about? 891,000 gallons of raw sewerage? I know they're running a sewer line up there, but we're at maximum capacity. So I don't know where the math is coming from. You got 17,000 people coming in. You got 6,500 homes and by 2040. So I don't know who he's going to sell the houses to. What's the price point? So we'll just leave it at that. I'm in denial of this, in opposition to this item. Thanks.
Thank you, George.
Applicant has time for rebuttal.
Another speaker?
Just a few things. We believe that our project does not increase the density more than what's currently allowed in the current zoning. All we're asking for is to rearrange the lots on the same number of lots on the same parcel of land in a way that allows us to preserve 2 fishing ponds, 96 acres, forever, and to show progression of land uses from 121 acres that's not going to be touched to 2-acre lots to our subdivision that's surrounded by 96 acres forever. We have a brand new sewer line that the county built. It's out there. We've already entered into a public-private partnership with the county. It's there. They built it for a reason. It complies with the future land use map, which is a legal instrument. And I feel that it is much smarter to let us, who love this place and love this county and want to do the best despite what everybody thinks for the county, this is the best version of what can be there. Thank you.
My name's Wendell McNeil. I'm his partner. Neither one of us are developers. I've never developed a subdivision whatsoever. But I did want to tell you about a couple things. I think Andy mentioned it. There's a 500 feet buffer. And this place is wildlife heaven. And I'm sure a lot of the neighbors know that. One of my responsibilities when we bought the property is to see about removing all the deer stands and the people hunting. But I did leave the boats that mysteriously appeared on our property. It's a nice piece of property. This is a good development. It's not going to cause any harm. We cut the number of houses down to the minimum, and the 96 acres of green space. Have you ever heard of anybody giving 96 acres? Thank you.
One quick question. What's phase 2? What is phase 2?
That's the 2-acre lots. That's the section that we made 2-acre lots.
Okay.
They're
not laid out in the description, so it just says phase 2.
See, we threw that in. We were going to keep that 40 acres, but, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody missed the card?
Yeah, we missed up here. Mr. Pickens. Did you call him up here? Because he didn't sign up.
I thought I did. Would have been number 2. Mr. Pickens? My apologies.
Yeah, I know it's out of order, but let me just put on the record that we would like for him
Yeah.
to be able to speak his piece.
Chairman and Commissioners, I appreciate the time. I really
No
do.
problem.
Nobody, I've heard from Leeton Road and we've heard from other areas around that particular area, but I'm from Fern Creek, which is a subdivision that is off of Dennard Road or Dennard Road, which connects Costley Mill to Highway 138. And it's a Fern Creek subdivision, and on his plat that he put up here, we're to the east of it. His property actually backs up to the entire Fern Creek subdivision. I'm Terry Pickens. I moved here about 3.5 years ago. I bought the property from my aunt and uncle who have been here since Fern Creek was developed back in the 80s. And part of the reason that I moved over here is because our area is 1 home per 3 acres. You know, we're in the agricultural residential, but I believe that there's a covenant in our area that only will allow 1 house per 3 acres. Now, I'm on 10 acres. I had 2 houses, but I removed one of them and turned that property into a conservancy. I also have a 4-acre pond on my property. And Mr. Ship's development here has 2 creeks on it that actually run into all of the ponds in the Fern Creek subdivision. So, albeit there's a waterway or a watershed between us and Costley Mill Road, there's actually 2 creeks that feed 8 ponds that run into Haynes Creek from there. So the development that is proposed, originally it was 347 houses, and I arrived here today because that's what was on the agenda, that it was 347 houses, and he has since changed that. That is a lot more palatable to the people in our area, but it still needs to be paid attention to as far as the watershed portion of it is. The other thing to pay attention to is the traffic in the area. Highway 138 is 2 lanes from Dennard Road all the way up to White Road and all the way up to Monroe. That road is congested, as one of the other people said here earlier from the White Road area, that is congested 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you're trying to travel that road during the daytime, you can be backed up I have been backed up a mile because of traffic wanting to turn right or turn left where there is not a turn lane. So the traffic situation there is just unacceptable right now. So what happens to all of the traffic that tries to get away from Highway 138? They cut down Dennard Road. Dennard Road, if anybody's ever been on that road, is curvy. It's like a snake going down through there. It's 2-lane, a narrow 2-lane road, but people that are going to cut through from 138 to get to Costley Mill, to get to Centennial Park, to go to Covington, or what have you, is going to come down a 2-lane dangerous road. So the development that this area is wanting to do is one thing, but adding another 700 houses within a half a mile stretch of Highway 138 is insane. The other traffic area that you have from this development, along with the other developments in the White Road area and High Rock Road, the other road that they would use for traffic ingress and egress is Costley Mill Road. It's not much better than Dennard Road. 2-lane, some straightaways on it that people like to run 80 miles an hour on. Quite honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a sheriff car out there or a whatever. So in any case, those are just some of the things that impact the entire area. But as far as the Fern Creek area that I'm from and that I live in, most of the homes over there are on 3 to 5 acres. And some of them 10. Mine's on 10. My brother, who's next door, his is on 10. So the water issues that we have with the water's coming down from this property, this development, can become an extremely large issue. And we'd like to deny this application.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm going to give the applicant, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody else is slipping in on me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. My name is Luke DeBarnes. I live in the Northampton subdivision right there at Highway 138. And I'm listening to a lot, and I've never been a political person, so forth, however, but it affects me directly. I keep hearing about the planning and the zoning and hearing about having to do the traffic studies. I do a traffic study every day, just trying to get in my subdivision, because they have what you call a suicide lane, okay? There's been several times when I'm getting ready to turn in my subdivision where you're coming the opposite way, cars are trying to beat the gap, we call it. So they'll get in that lane, and you look up, you got a car coming at you head on. This happened several times. It's amazing, where they want to build that. There are two memorials. I don't know who this person was. I've been in this county 10 years, but this fireman's hat has been there for 10 years. I've been there. His name is C.J. Smith, I think. If you're coming down 138, his helmet is nailed to a tree. So I can only suspect he must have got killed right there. When you come to when you come down White Road and you get to Highway 138, there's another memorial across, and I remember that one. Somebody didn't know there was a stop sign right there, and they went out into the highway. And it amazes me, I've been in other counties and see the stop signs with flashing lights. You would think it'd be there. Now, schools. When you go down to the school of High Rock Road, you see trailers there now because they're overcrowded. Okay? What I don't understand, now the signs go up public notice. There's got to be a better way, because you can't read that sign while you driving. All right? It's got to be a better way to let us know. The other thing is, we started watching construction being done on the highway. No, I wasn't aware they were putting sewer lines in, because we knew there could be no building there until you got sewer lines in, which is my understanding. Okay, and then all of a sudden, now I'm finding out just the other day that these plans, we're just getting a notice about this, these plans have been in effect since July. Now, if it's my ignorance, I'll do better at watching that website, okay? But I'm asking that you deny this, because we're talking close to 1,000 units with the three proposals. We can't travel there now. Another thing too, that highway is used by a lot of 18-wheelers, trucks all the time. All right, I'm asking that this board consider the safety of us in this county. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You've had two more speakers to slip in on you. I would like you to address one thing that
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wilkins, I think it is. Do the ponds, in fact, on your property feed to the Haynes Creek?
That would be 300, how? So Haynes Creek is, I'm sorry, no, it's in a different basin. I don't understand that comment, but it's in a different basin. Everybody's driven up to the top of the hill. I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. Everybody's driven to the top of the hill. There's a cell tower there because it's one of the highest points in the county. That begins the Big Haynes Creek Basin. It flows to the north to Costley Mill. From my way, it flows south. None of my water, unless you shoot it with a fire hose 2 miles, is going to make it over there. Okay. Anyway, that's to answer the question.
Rest of your rebuttal then.
Really, I know this is hard for everybody. I know progress is hard, moving forward is hard, the county changing is hard. It's hard on me, it's hard on everybody. It's not the same place. It's changed. Things change. Life changes. We all move on. We all grow. We progress. All we're doing is taking the same density that we're currently allowed, not what's allowed under medium density, not even a third of it. We're taking 1 unit to the acre, currently allowed, and rearranging it on the same piece of the property. And that creates a beautiful, permanent green space for everything. And I just don't think having 2 fishing ponds for a community is a bad thing. I think the staff agrees with me. They did not agree with me. They kicked me in the teeth for 2 months until I finally came up with something that they thought was smart and sustainable.
Okay. Nobody have any more questions for Mr. Chairman?
No, I don't.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, that's good. County's recommending approval with conditions. What say ye, Commission?
I mean, I know this is I know that it's part of the watershed protection.
Please for speaking to the microphone.
I saw you coming. I mean,
Mic up to you.
no,
Yell
I'm
at
gonna
you
skin-
again.
I know that the property's in the watershed protection, and I just don't like that. See if I can move. All right. I know that the property is in the watershed protection district, but I just don't like the density right there at the beginning of the property.
This property is not in the WPA.
Right.
We're talking about that certain
a sliver
portion.
of it.
Okay,
A
that's the
sliver
one,
of it is
right.
in the water protection district, but this majority of this property, over 3/4 of it, is medium density.
I thought that the discussion
that's
was
the
that
future
it
land use
impact-
character area. This is not the one property across White Road where majority of that was in the WP future land use character. This one is the future land use character is a medium density. So only a sliver of that. So again, so what the applicant has proposed and which staff has agreed is to have even though it is not, is associated, right, really abutting the WP area, staff believes that a transition from the smaller homes to the larger lots would still be in keeping with the character of the area, but also still abiding by the future land use of medium density. So that is staff's recommendation for that.
And the
Again,
medium density is how many?
2 to 4 units per acre.
2 to 4 units
Yes,
per
sir.
acre?
Yeah. Low density is 1 to 2 units per acre.
Okay.
2 to 4 units per acre.
Yeah, that is in the new comprehensive plan. Yes, previously it was something else. It is now 2 to 4 units per acre. It's quoted as medium density. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been like that for over a year now.
Slipped that out on us, didn't you?
No, nope. I can explain to you as well, Scott.
I know,
We
I know.
advertise public hearings and comprehensive plans for residents to come out and
I
see
understand.
it. So.
Hey, it was his vote out there.
I don't know. I mean, do you think that it impacts the watershed protection district? Do you think it has any
I
impact?
think it touches it.
He said it's a, he said
It's
it's
going
a
to affect my
sliver.
decision.
So what do we consider as a slitter?
How many acres?
What do you mean?
Like you
What's a
said
sliver?
that it
What's
was
the
a
definition of
slitter.
acreage?
What's it?
Uh,
I don't know. I would have to. It's on. Oh, I guess it is. Well, I have to.
How many acres are in the WP?
We are not rezoning anything
Well, he
in the
says a sliver of it's in it.
No, sir. Everybody's confused. Carolina, can you go to the site plan and zoom in for me, please?
Well, I'm confused. as
That
then.
top one. So we did this, I know it, I tried to explain in the beginning, it seems like I'm being stupid, but I really am not.
Well, we're getting conflicting information. You're saying it's not in the WP.
Well, I'm going to
touching
show
it,
you on
and
the
he's
site
saying it
plan.
is.
I'm sorry. So do you see the dotted line at the top, Carolina? Show, that is WP. I'm not rezoning that 122.7 acres is not being rezoned.
Where's that cell tower?
Right there. I'm not rezoning it. It's not on the table. It's not being considered. There's a 122 acre buffer between my second phase of 2 acre lots and everything else.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So I own land in the watershed, but because it's in the watershed, I didn't rezone it. That's the reason I did what I did. Wendell and I know we lived it for 3 years on that committee, and we would never touch it.
Where's the contour?
So I don't know, 122 acres used to be a lot of land, but
Can you point out phase 1? So where's phase 1?
phase
Phase
one,
is what we're looking at.
Carolyn, can you circle the main, that's phase 1.
And then phase 2 is right behind that.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am,
I
with the
see.
2 acre lots.
Okay, I got it.
As we transition to 122 acres not being developed.
So the closer you get to the watershed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And the tower is on the top of the 122 acres mound?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we're talking 230 lots, correct?
Yes, sir. So 1 unit per acre.
Okay. And that's not going to affect traffic in any way in that area?
Anything you do,
It will
anything
affect
you do
traffic.
is going to have some impact on traffic. If DOT will let me, I'll put something out there, but they tell you what you're gonna do on their road.
Which are your two ponds? This one and this one?
Yes, sir.
All right. And whose pond is that?
I don't know, actually.
Is that the gentleman's pond that we were speaking here earlier?
It's probably mine.
Is that your pond?
That's my pond.
All right.
You follow the contour lines.
I know.
They go
That's
right
what I'm
up to
looking
the
at.
property. You may not know it, but you do affect it.
Yeah, the contour lines feed directly from, well, they feed from your 122 acres into his pond. Where's 138 is right here.
My name is
This is the sliver he's talking about.
Chairman,
I mean, I was.
sir.
My whole issue was what Tom was saying, but
We'll have Stormwater take a look at it and get an official write-up from them. Because I know we won't get official, but just for the record, we'll have staff to ask for their opinion about it, so they'd be officially on the record instead of just a lot of
I would like a better
conjecture, but just a
contour
lot of
map.
context.
I would like a better contour definition of this, but
Yeah,
not
that's
gonna
what I'm
affect
saying.
my
Yes, sir. So we can have a larger picture, and then they can actually go in depth. I'm sure we have contour maps already online, so we can actually have them take a look at it.
All right. It's getting late, gentlemen. Do a motion. Does anybody have an opinion?
the cell tower's not a fall hazard, is it?
No, no. We've been on enough of those. The cell tower's right here. He says it's on the highest point, highest point's right here. Where these contour lines make a circle, that shows you the highest point on the property, right there. And what concerns me is the closer the lines are together, the steeper the property is. All right? When they spread out, like this is a flat area, that's probably a field or an open area with trees. But, so this guy's, and you see how this feeds in? His is getting directly from the runoff, but over here, it may not, so.
If we could have the audience kind of and let the commissioners talk, so we can make sure that we are recording live. So whatever conversation they're having, we want to make sure that it is being recorded live. We want to make sure we get their comments on the record as well too.
We were discussing the contours, so pinpointing where the tower was on that property. So, that being said, does anybody have any further questions of the applicant? Hearing none, I'll ask for a further discussion. Do we have any further discussion? Do I hear a motion? The county is recommending approval with conditions. And it's going to be on the rezoning to go from AR to CRS. Am I correct?
We don't have these conditions, do we?
CRS, all right. Not mixed residential, not MRU.
Just put the inroad to the next person.
Yeah.
Sir.
Please, no comments out there. This is not easy as it is.
It's not. It's just so conflicting to.
Well, it's not conflicting to the point, you know, I know that the projections for the 2040 population are in fact 17,000 influx. And I know for a fact that we've got 6,000 rooftops under construction currently. And so how do we do this? I mean, we go by the law, we go by the zoning, or do we go from what we feel is correct? All we are, ladies and gentlemen, is a recommending body. So this body would vote for denial for mitigating circumstances. So I can't make a motion. The motion has to come from the floor. We can't leave without a motion. One of you four has to make it.
Well, let's just discuss it a little bit more.
I was gonna ask.
Okay, what,
Discussion.
Yeah, let's just
What are some of
discuss it a little bit more because.
All right, what's your ideas?
Well, you made the comment and said that we can go by the law, we can go by our feelings, and we can make a recommendation or a denial. As hard as it is, so this is just a discussion for the board here.
It's public, so your discussion needs to be made for the record.
Okay. I like the idea of the 120 acres buffer, which doesn't have anything to do with the watershed protection part. I mean, that it would cover in the watershed protection part. But then at the same time, we have residents that are here that are opposing the development. But then we have before us an application to rezone 230.35 acres of a 253.04 acres property from an AR to a mixed resident use. But then the staff came and said that, okay, we will do the approval with conditions if we rezone to CRS. So what do we do?
You can make a recommendation that they apply with the WP rules of 1 house per 3 acres as an addition to the conditions that the county has mentioned.
That's what I'm trying to look at there.
And I don't have the conditions in front of me. Would you have it, Chris, can I see a copy of the conditions? This is the new one or the old one?
I scratched out the one at the top, so.
I don't think that's not the one, the current one.
I don't have the current one, because it was just sent to us in an email.
Can we see a copy of the?
We didn't make any changes, so what you have is current.
I thought you said that you sent the new one
But
out.
number 1 changed.
What number 1 changed? I'm not.
I think that was the prior.
That's when they say approval with conditions, right? Well, and number 1 did change to.
Well, you got to, in other words, number 1, we're pulling out mixed
CRS.
use, you put in CRS.
Yes,
That is the only
CRS.
Oh,
thing.
so okay, that was the only
Number
change.
1 changed to
Okay.
CRS.
So if you want to make and that's 15, not 14, where are you coming up with 14?
Well, I see. I see 15.
Staff says you have 14, I got 15 on this one.
I have 15 also.
It's 15.
Figure out the missing bouncing ball. Something's not on it.
What are your thoughts?
I'm so
You know, I feel like if they put 1 acre on 3 acres, 1 house on 3 acres like the WP stands for, I'm for it.
But then
Otherwise, I'm
wouldn't
going
that
to
put
denial.
then when it put those houses in the area of protection that we
Well,
just talked
no,
about?
it's not. It's still, it's close enough to me that even if it came across 138 in some flood condition or whatever, you might still have a situation where anything in the other side could come across and affect.
So Tom, you're saying that if they did the 1 unit per acre.
Which one's missing? What are we missing?
Go ahead.
Wouldn't
Phyllis.
that
Can you go
cause
ahead?
them to?
Yeah, I was asking.
3 comes off?
Okay, but we still need
Number
order
3
so
come
everybody
off?
can hear.
Well, I scratched it for some reason earlier.
So Tom, you were saying
I
that
thought
if
that
we did
was
the
there.
1 unit per acre,
1 for 3 acres.
1 unit per 3 acres?
Right.
That would be awesome.
Wait a minute, Chris, how can number 3 come off? That's one where it says not to exceed a certain amount of units.
I think they took it off because the request now is for 230 units.
Well, that was just
then we
change
changed it,
347
yeah.
to 2 something.
Right.
Can we go lower
Well,
than that?
now that'll change because
Wouldn't 3 just get changed from 347 to 200 instead of coming off? Chris said number 3 comes off.
To 230?
But it just changes to 230 from 347 to 2 something.
No.
No, the new-
This number 3 talks about a mandatory homeowner association.
So we don't have the
here.
same.
No, not my number 3.
The one mine is totally different.
No. He said to take number 3 off altogether because their number 3 states a mandatory homeowners association.
Not mine.
Well, this 3 says the site
That's
shall.
our 4.
Right.
That's our 4.
Right. Exactly.
So 1 or
That's
2
their 3.
came off.
Yeah.
So what it looks like is they've already deleted number 3 on the new one.
So what is the correction?
We just took it out
You took out,
because then it would be contradicting. Yeah, it would be contradicting.
Are we on number 3 still?
Yeah, we still.
which 1 or 2 or 3?
He has the right one. He has the right one.
3 says on this one.
4 is mandatory homeowner.
347 units.
We're just trying to get a point of clarity on the recommendations from the
4 deals
staff.
with mandatory homeowners.
Conditions.
On my sheet.
That's the one that was.
Well, I wrote those notes in there, the 1 for 3 acres, when we were talking about the WP.
Well, that was the previous. Yeah, we just took the number 3 out. So that's why.
The 347 units?
Yes.
So there's the restriction is, there's no restriction for the number of units,
No, because that would be contradicting the one.
contradicting the MR.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, now I understand.
CRS.
Right, the
I mean the
CRS.
CRS.
Having the 300 and.
3 comes out because it contradicts CRS.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Now I understand.
So number 3
Exactly.
Number 3 comes out because the restriction to 347 units, the CRS
Okay.
covers that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this
Because
changes
they changed it to 230.
30.
Okay.
So,
Going
Mr.
to
Chair,
230 gets it into the CRS, and so that our number 3 goes away because it said 3.
Goes away altogether.
Right?
Okay.
so Mr. Chair, let's just go back to what you were just stating about the 1 unit per acre.
I'm just looking for less density, period.
Okay.
I don't care, well, I know I do care what the zoning says, but in this case, I think it contradicts what is in place in the northern part of the county.
Okay.
So my recommendation personally would be to make a 15th condition that says the number lot size will be 1 unit per 3 acres. Hey, that's me. I've got that prerogative.
Yes, sir. I'm not debating that.
Well,
My.
okay, so if we do the 1 unit per 3 acres, doesn't that require them to spread out into the conservation area?
No, it just
No, it won't.
less-
It'll just
less
limit
the
him
number
for the
of
distance.
It's gonna limit the
That's
number,
what
it's gonna limit the number of units.
It's gonna limit the number of
him
units
for
they can
houses.
Okay. And how many
Somebody else will do the math
So
on that.
I- so
how
then-
many units, if we were to do 1 unit per 3 acres, how many units could you build on?
230
Within that same parameter.
Within the same
One-
parameters?
One unit
Per
per
acre?
3 acres, you
No,
couldn't do
that'll
but
be,
about
no,
what?
that'll be 3.
Less than 100.
Using that same
Well,
amount.
it's 230 acres, so divide by
3.
3,
Oh, okay.
76.
I'm currently allowed to do 1 per acre today. In my current zone.
Which property of that 200 and some odd acres, does it not include that sliver we talked about? No.
AR is 1.
No, he was pretty much saying that he can build now with his current zoning
It's 1 per
100 units
No, ma'am.
No, right.
230.
I'm allowed to build 1 unit per acre.
per acre, so you can build 230.
Yes, ma'am. And all I'm trying to do is just rearrange it based on the geological features I've got on the ground. Same number of units, I'm not asking for more than is currently allowed.
So this is null and void, then if you do the 1 per 3 acres, because he can just build in the current zoning 1 per.
Well, he can build anyway 230 homes regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
that's
so
enough.
changing him to CRS, the only thing he's just trying to do is just trying to maximize his lot area.
Yeah. I think
So
that
what are y'all thoughts on that, guy?
my problem is the density. You know, my problem is the density.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's almost like I would rather him just do the 1 unit per acre, leave it like it is, and then let him spread it out. You know. I
Okay,
mean,
but
Well, he's gonna spread out 800 units anyway, because he got 230 acres.
Yeah.
Right. 200.
Yeah. Otherwise.
so why would you not agree with them going to CRS?
Right.
Why would you not agree with that?
I'm fine with
Okay,
that.
okay,
I'm fine with that. It's just as far as, I guess the 2/3. Why would we need to change the? Why would we need to change it?
He's trying to reconfigure. So in order to reconfigure is what I heard him say.
Reconfigure, you can put 200
Yeah.
houses on,
Yeah.
230 houses on 230 acres.
Well, okay, so then why don't we ask him? But that's what I heard, is
Mm-hmm.
that the reason he needs this zoning is to reconfigure.
To change
So
the
he
lot
can-
size,
right.
right?
How do you reconfigure 230 houses on 230 acres?
So why do you need
Okay, let-
CRS
let him-
zoning?
yeah.
Is it the lot size?
So what he requested originally was MRU.
Right.
CRS is something that staff had thought would be a middle ground. So take the CRS. His original request is MRU. That's what he's
And
looking
how many
for.
units per acre is that?
I do not know off the top of my head. That's why I have to go back and look in the staff report.
Here's the thing to remember. This sounds confusing, but I have to rezone it to a site plan. And that's what we're here to discuss, is the shape of my site plan. And so originally, remember how I told you I went in and talked to them and they said, hey, you're stupid, and you come back and you make a change? I thought MRU was the best way to accomplish this rearranging of the lots on the land around the ponds and everything. They said, no, really, that's not what you should have asked for. You should have asked for CRS. And so they can change it, and then it goes to the board, and the board says yes. But ultimately, it's about that site plan. That's what I'm locked into. If I make any changes to the site plan, I have to come back here and rezone it because I'm site plan specific.
I understand.
So if he said, oh, you got to do it R1,
Well,
then you got to determine how many units you can put on an acre.
yes, sir. And then I got to go. That's where he comes in. That's what he does.
Okay.
So,
We don't know how many that's going to be, though.
yeah, no, we don't.
The only way we're going to find out is if we vote for denial.
If you vote for denial, we don't, and he changes the site
We
plan.
recommend denial, then you have to change the site plan and come back.
I guess we can't agree. So, I mean,
That's what it
it
sounds like.
yeah.
It's just too dense.
Yeah.
So should that question be asked?
Ask it. If you have a question, now's the time.
Well, you made the comment, Chairman, to say that if we do a denial, simply because of what he's asking for in regards to his site plan, then it means that he would have to come back to resubmit a new site plan to planning and zoning?
Yes, correct?
Correct?
No.
Okay.
No, because again, you got to remember, recommending body. So you can do a recommend denial, but if the BOC decides to approve it, it does not come back to you.
Okay.
You always got to remember that caveat. Either BOC is the final decision maker, so they may not even bring it back to you. Again,
And we have to make a recommendation.
you have to make a recommendation, and that no recommendation is a recommendation. So that is what you have before you. Again, let me just
That's one of our choices.
Yeah, so let me just refresh your memory. We have done the no recommendation in the past as a way to ask for the items to come back to the plan commission, because you do not
Okay.
have the option for deferral. So especially if you guys are not clear about something or want to have the applicant to go out to the public and have more dialogue, you often will do the no recommendation, and staff will explain that at the BOC of why there's a no recommendation, and then tell them to send it back to the Planning Commission. That is usually what we've done in the past.
Well, then I would say, to answer my questions, no recommendation, and one reason being, we'd like to know what less density would look like with R1, or another choice.
So I haven't, I just haven't, I'm still not clear on, currently under AR, right? That's how it's zoned currently.
Yes.
So the developer can right now, under AR, build 230 units.
Right.
Right? So that's what he can do.
Yeah, that's theoretically just mathematical, but does not take in consideration of infrastructure, buffers, and all that. So I want to just be clear about that. Mathematically, you are correct, but it is not taking into consideration other things required when you do a development. So just want to be clear. So
Okay, and I appreciate that point of clarity, but what I'm trying to understand is if he can currently build under AR, and if we deny tonight,
No, we would have to.
if we recommend denial,
He could build
yeah, I just want
230.
just want to again to clarify. You can do that if you have no existing wetlands or streams or anything on the property. So again, you have to take into consideration the other issues, other topography, the other wetlands and streams on the property. So you have to be careful when you say he has 30 acres, he can do 230 units. That's not necessarily true, because you have to take all the other stuff in considering in factors as well too. So I just want to point that out as well too.
So if we suggested a no recommendation and leave the zoning alone, he would have to reconfigure and see how many units he can get in there with all the other factors, the infrastructure, the ponds, the streams, and he comes up with another number.
We've done that in the past when we asked for just clarification. Let me mold that really quick, and I can come back to you. Let me think about what you just said. So
if we recommend no change,
yeah, let me. It's been a long day, so let me just make sure I understand completely and go through my notes.
So what do you want to do? Just sit here and talk
I
about
want
it?
to.
No. Let me. I don't want to sit here and just twiddle my thumbs and so forth. I just want to just understand exactly what you're stating is that you're
Mark,
want
you
to know
thinking about it?
what he's want to do for R1. That's what you want, an R1 development standard with this property. Is that what
I
you're
would like
asking?
to know both AR and R1.
I would like the developer to be able to answer that question.
So this is funny in a weird way, because this is the reverse of what Steve asked you to do. You're asking me to do what you asked Steve to do, or what Steve asked you to do, and you didn't know how to do it.
He couldn't do it. And
Well, I can't do it.
I didn't realize there was an option for us.
Well, but I mean, if I keep, how many site plans do I have to bring back? And finally, I mean, that's what I did for the last 3 months with staff. But they're saying, no, this is against code. No. But you're saying to me, keep bringing me back site plans, and eventually we'll tell you what we like. I'd rather you just say no and be done with it.
But that doesn't keep the BOC from overriding.
That makes you feel good? All right.
That doesn't keep the BOC from overriding our recommendation.
But if I just, nothing does. I mean, we could just keep doing this over and over and over, I guess, but.
Well, okay, when you initially started to develop this site, and you know about all of the topography, you know everything about the watershed.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do a study on how many homes that you could develop with the current zoning before you decided to change?
So, no. One of the reasons, we've owned it for a long time and didn't really have a plan for it. So we just owned it. Filmed Stranger Things out there a few times. So then the sewer line came along. We learned about the sewer line that the county spent millions and millions of dollars to build. We went to them and said, hey, what size are you building on the sewer line? And they told us, and we said, we want you to upgrade the sewer line, and we'll pay a portion of that cost to do it. And so we're in a separate agreement with the commissioners that they all voted, all three of them, to take our money to upgrade the sewer line. So,
Are you upgrading the sewer line just to your property, or this is a certain
well, all the
portion?
way, it ends at White Road, because that's kind of the high point for that side of the road. And it goes all the way back to the elementary school, High Rock Elementary.
Because I'm just kind of curious, because we've kind of played around with a lot from the mixed residential
It is
uses to the
confusing.
CRS. So I guess I'm saying that if you could build a certain number or a feasible amount with the existing zoning, why did you choose to compress it in that particular density and that, what
Because they saw
came
the
about?
sewer line coming down the road.
So the sewer line is the
It's a sewer
reason.
line, and then it's just math. I mean, I know nobody wants to hear it. It's not profit, it's math. Things become feasible and not feasible. And so when you drag out roads, Steve told you he's not lying, $750 a foot, then things get less feasible the more you do that. And so it's just math. And it's not,
Just money.
So it's just.
well, I mean, it's just feasible or not feasible. Is it viable or not viable?
I
So
still
less
would
line.
like to see what AR density, R1 density, and CRS density look
So
like.
how do I do that in an application? Do I give you 3 applications with 3 site plans? Do I just come back every month?
Is it possible, Mark?
It can be done, but you're talking apples and oranges. Because the first thing, if you went to R1, you can't afford to run sewer. It's sort of like Steve.
Well, the sewer's coming down because they paid a little extra to the county.
Doesn't matter. It adds an additional, Steve was talking about $750 a foot for roads without sewer. Our latest prices on sewer is close to $200 a foot additional when they're running the sewer up underneath the roads,
So
putting
your
in
infrastructure
laterals.
costs would be a whole lot less if you just kept it at AR, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but what happens is then our lots get,
Bigger.
I think with the CRS, we have 60 foot
The
wide
lots get bigger under AR.
Yes, and so they get twice as wide, so you have to put in twice as much road, and it gets to a mathematical, you also have to deal with the DOT, and it just gets to a point where you're better off putting your money in the bank and making 4% because there's too much.
But then
risk.
doesn't that work though? I mean.
Come on, people.
So
Been here all
then
night.
it works. It becomes less dense if you weren't.
Yeah, but it
isn't
gets
that?
to a point where they're gonna sell $1 million worth of lots, but it cost them $1.2 million to build the road, so it makes no mathematical sense. So you have to balance out, when is it feasible to run sewer? Can you get smaller lots? There's an additional cost, but you get more lots, so you have to weigh all the factors out. You can do it, if you go to AR, you cannot afford to put sewer. That's one, I'm 100% sure of that. When you go to R1, it gets to be very tricky because current R1 is a 30,000 square foot lot. It used to be 20,000 if you had sewer. Then it worked out.
But with AR, you could have a larger than 1 acre lot per house.
Oh, yes, sir.
You just keep it to the, quote, even if you split the WP to 1.5, but if you put it at the 1 to 3, then you configure your infrastructure costs pretty easy, couldn't you?
Yeah, we
can
configured that, but I can tell you right now, I'll tell Andy just to walk away. It doesn't, the math, it doesn't math. Because,
Come on.
If he's having to put in 200 feet of street per lot, 200 feet times, that's $150,000 development cost. And you can't sell, your lot may be worth $100,000 at the best. So.
If the dirt's free.
Yeah, and there's a dirt cost also. So it's all a function of mathematics.
Yeah.
Money back for the upgrade.
Okay. I'll make them up.
Back to the
Okay.
Not to kind of prolong this. Excuse me, please.
Come on.
Please. Not to prolong this even further. Please, those who appear to speak, please speak to the planning commissioners, and planning commissioners just speak to the applicant. Thank you.
You have a chance to review Your thoughts?
Yes, sir. I mean, it'll be, if the rest of the board is in agreement, then you can make that, you can do that no recommendation, and I'll explain the reason why you guys want to do the no recommendation.
And what is that?
That would be.
That's what Mr. Harrison wants.
What does it look like under density under AR? What's the density look like under R1? And what's the density? It's all about choices. And I know that it's going to get down to mathematics as to whether or not they can afford to do it or not. But I don't think that jamming 230 houses onto that small of footprint is correct.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, please.
I'm not going to waste it. I'll say it.
That's up to you.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion on item number 7, REZ 2024-19, to deny to rezone 230.35 acres from AR to MRU.
Now, you do understand the differences.
I do.
Denial means that the BOC can override us in a heartbeat.
I understand.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor to deny REZ 2024-19. Do I have a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor of denial say aye.
Aye.
Did you vote aye?
Yeah,
Did you vote aye?
Sure did.
Well, I'm voting nay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Item R7 is behind us. We go to R8. Everybody move out of here. Yeah, right. I don't know. Ask somebody else beside me. I don't work for the county. This is a volunteer board.
Right.
And I didn't agree with their proposal, so I voted no. They voted yes. So talk to him. Chris, don't talk to me. Talk to the man. No. I don't know. I'm not involved in that.
Oh, right.
Yes, I do.
Are we done? We're not done,
So if we did not.
You should have added, y'all should have voted to make no recommendation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, what's the difference?
No recommendation. POC would have referred it back to us
Automatically?
after they made a decision whether or not to come up with a 3 proposal.
Automatically? Oh, I thought that was something we
Quiet, please. Item R8.
Hold on. Denise.
Okay, let's move along.
Can I resign?
No.
We're still in session. Thank you.
Item
Okay,
R8,
so-
please.
all right.
REZ 2024.
REZ 2024-23. Site address is 1529 Farmer Road, Northwest. Applicant is Marshanda Farrell. The applicant is requesting to rezone 1.3 acre property from R1 Single Family Residential to M2 General Industrial for an auto body shop.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
In the future, small ones like this, why don't you put them at the front so these people don't have to sit around all night?
We thought that getting the crowd out first would have been beneficial,
No.
but it didn't seem that way. Sorry, guys.
She probably didn't appreciate it.
I agree too. But so the zoning for this property is R1, and it's surrounded by R1, M1, and M2. The future land use map of the property and its surrounding properties is light industrial. The applicant intends to develop auto body shop, and he also intends to demolish the existing residential structure and construct 3-bay industrial building that will house up to 3 mechanic or auto body shop. The external reviews were received. There is no impact on school because it's commercial, no impact on fire, stormwater, and transportation. So with this in mind, staff has recommended approval with 10 conditions.
10?
Yes, sir.
What are the two I'm missing?
There are two to take note of, number 4 and number 6. We've added number 4. And number 6, I think, was there, but I wanted to bring it to your attention, also to the applicant's attention.
Well-
So number 4 is to add a 100-foot wide transitional buffer. It shall be established between the auto body shop and the adjacent residential property unless otherwise reduced through approval of an administrative variance. So we need a buffer between the M1 zoning and the residential zoning. And number 6, should the rezoning request be approved, the applicant shall submit a combination plat prior to requesting a land disturbance permit.
A combination what?
A combination plat, so he
Oh,
has to
plat,
combine
okay.
those 3 tracks that he has.
Okay. That gives a total of 10.
Yeah. So number 4 and number 6.
Well,
And-
that's her number 4 and her,
Mine's 9 and 10.
yeah. True 6 is a combination plat.
Yes.
Instead of outdoor storage.
So if you don't have any questions for staff, the applicant is here and can answer any questions you may have.
God bless you for sticking around.
Good evening, Chairman and
evening.
Commissioners. How are you all? Tired, I know.
We're just peachy.
But I won't hold you as long as the others, so I'll be brief. So this property was built in 1953, and it was also always zoned as a residential property. The residence is now in a poor state. Mr. Clark, oh, I didn't introduce myself. I'm so sorry. My name is Marshonda Farrell. I'm the office manager for Oral Clark, and I'm speaking on his behalf. He's out of town at the moment. So I'll begin again. This property was built in 1953, and it was zoned as a residential property always. The residence is now in poor condition. Mr. Clark also owns the property that is located next to 1529, which is 1525 parcel. That parcel is zoned as a general industrial property. And if you look at it, you see where the rectangle is with the star that's green? That's 1529. 1525 is the purple square that's in the middle. So that's zoned already as the general industrial. It also has a residential housing located on it for 1525 has a residential housing located on it in poor condition as well. 1529 Farmer Road is surrounded by other industrial parcels. Mr. Clark would like to rezone the property as industrial to build a mechanic warehouse with probably 3 to 7 bays, providing a facility for local entrepreneurs and businessmen to complete their work in a clean and safe environment.
What is that body of water next to the property?
I believe that's part of the residential.
Is that a lake in a subdivision?
I don't believe it's a subdivision.
What, over here?
That pond.
No, that's not subdivision.
That pond or lake. What is that? Please don't tell me it's in the WP.
I believe that. Oh, no.
I said, I'm looking at the aerial photograph and it's not forest, it's a lake, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on the topo map, it's all solid blue.
Mm-hmm.
No more topo.
It says Lee's Lake.
Pardon?
It says Lee's Lake on Google.
D's?
Lee.
Lee. Lee, okay. I knew it was a lake.
That was all for my presentation. I had a really cute presentation, but it was on my laptop that died hours ago. So
Did you say the dog ate it?
I'm sorry.
You said out of, where'd your laptop go?
It died.
Oh.
Waiting on us.
I thought you said the dog ate it. I said, I've heard homework, but not.
No, I said it died hours ago.
So directly across from the house is commercial? Some type, of some sort, it's not
Yes,
residential?
I mean, it's industrial along that strip. Pittman Construction actually owns a lot of it.
And then facing the house to the right, is that residential, commercial? Or
To the right, so
facing the house?
facing 15, 20,
Yeah.
29, facing is industrial.
To the right of that,
Adjacent
to the right
is,
of that. Okay, I've seen it, but I don't remember.
What's that little landlocked square?
Okay.
the purple square?
No, the
In the center of the.
2200100014.
Is that 1525 Farmer Road?
No, that's in the green, the residential,
green.
that square, the rectangle there.
A little rectangle right in the middle of the property behind you.
Oh, this over here?
That's residential.
Well,
Okay.
so for this property, you're gonna
Okay,
drive,
there's the driveway. I see that. Okay.
so how are you getting on the property from,
Farmer.
is that Farmer Road?
So you'll get on the property from Farm Road. I have this illustration if you like to see it.
Yeah, let me see that.
Which is off of Signal.
It's Farmer Road. Yeah. So, because it looks like you're, from this map, it looks like you're going across someone else's property to get on it. Am I looking? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
what I was saying. The
Mhm.
square that was in the middle owns that one as well. So we're gonna join those together.
Oh, okay. All right. And then as far as where, storage of the cars, if you, where are you going to put those? Towards
So-
the residential or towards the Farmer Road?
Towards the Farmer Road. And if I'm shaking a little bit, it's because I'm cold.
Okay.
So you can see in the illustration where Farmer Road is. So it'll be towards the Farmer Road where the parking spaces are.
Mm. Oh, but that must be, I'm looking, I don't see, plan. Oh,
So if I remember
That's
correctly.
why, did you want the illustration again so you can
Oh,
see it
no.
up close?
Trying to say we can't see this.
I don't, I mean, I'm just.
No, thank you.
I think
I'm thinking I had in the packet.
When you turn off Sigmund, taking a left on Farmer, I think there was a buffer area before you got to the act where the house was. It's like there's a lot of trees and
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
But if, I'm
What's
saying
your
this,
tearing house down?
if you're working on the cars,
Mhm.
I mean, I see the parking, but if you're working on the cars, where do you store the vehicles that you work on? Are they going to always be on the inside?
So yes, they'll be in the bays.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the cars will be stored, or they'll be stored in a parking spot.
Okay.
So it won't just look like, I know you, when you ride past other places, you see junk cars and
Mhm.
stuff. No, we won't. We're not gonna have that. They're gonna actually be in a parking spot or in the bay.
Okay.
And currently, there's an older home that will be torn down.
Two
Two, yeah. Okay.
for 1529 and 1525.
Right, okay.
Okay.
One of the homes, well, one of the parcels are already zoned for industrial.
Okay. Is this property on septic or?
Is it on septic? That I don't know. Is it on septic? Do you know? I'm trying to look back at the report. Did y'all turn the air down? I'm shaking.
No, everybody left.
It's because all the bodies left.
Right.
We're still warm up here.
All the heat left.
And the question was because I was wondering if you're going to have like an industrial septic system, or how were you going to handle the waste?
If there's
bathrooms.
I'm talking as far as the all of the drainage that goes.
That wouldn't go into the sewer.
That can go. You can.
That'd go into.
I don't believe it's on septic, but we will adhere to whatever Rockdale County provisions are.
So I'm saying it may be on septic, but public wastewater is not available at this point. That's what according to Water Resources comments.
Okay.
Did you say no public water is available? No wastewater, okay.
Okay, any further questions for the applicant? Anybody here to speak? Hello,
You know, I guess I'll dig a little bit further into the question, like if you're in the Bay areas where you're having drainage, and there could be oil.
Is there a stormwater report?
Well, I'm just, how are you handling that waste? Oil and,
As far as oil?
Like,
you mean like the mechanic oil?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll have oil drums.
They're held for pickup, are they not?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Recycle.
Yeah. Okay.
That's by, they gotta do that by law.
Okay.
Yeah. We won't just be dumping it out.
Oh, I've seen it.
Okay.
Okay.
County have anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
So you think this is pretty straightforward?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll look for a motion then, if I don't have anything to discuss.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that REZ 2024-23 be approved with 8 is it 10?
10.
With the 10 conditions as recommended.
I've got a motion to approve with the 10 conditions. Do I hear a second?
I think that the motion should also say from R1 to M2, to general industrial for an auto body shop.
Okay. You want to restate that for us?
Okay. So
Just read it out.
Okay. So I move that REZ 2024-3 to rezone a 1.0 acre property from R1 single family residential to M2 general industrial for an auto body shop be approved with the 10 conditions as recommended.
I've got a motion to approve with 10 conditions. Do I hear a second?
I, Phyllis Hatcher, second.
Ms. Phyllis Hatcher, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Item R9, SUP 2024-04. Special use
yes.
permit to authorize the operation of a veterinarian service.
Okay, winding down. And the applicant is Mr. Glenn Greenidge. And the address for that site is 2156 Tucker Mill Road. And the applicant is here to ask for a special use permit to allow for the operation of veterinarian services or clinic. The property is, surrounding areas are zone AR. And the future land use map of the property and its surrounding properties are light industrial and medium density residential. To give a brief summary, again, the applicant is applying for a special use permit for a veterinarian clinic or services. The existing barn on the property will be utilized for the veterinarian services. A driveway with parking will be there to accommodate patrons, and the property is connected to public water and served by a septic system. All external reviews were received, no impact on school, fire, stormwater, and transportation. Again, wastewater is not available, and staff has recommended approval with 7 conditions. It's kind of a straightforward one, so if you have any questions for staff, if not, the applicant is here.
Should I say good evening?
Yes.
Right.
Better than good morning. We've
Right,
had one of
I
those.
know. So, my name is Glenn Greenidge, right, and I'm applying for this. You know, I've been here since 1 o'clock, right? So it's been a long stay, but I'm happy I've been here since 1 o'clock because it confirms what I believe, right? That we need this animal clinic in the area. I put together a presentation and I will skip through most of it, right? But I'm going to kind of do it in reverse because I think I'll answer a lot of the questions you may have by doing this presentation, right? So I will be operating this vet clinic. It's a lot of hard work. I do operate one already in Macon, Georgia, right? So I'm not trying to look for extra work, but there's a need for it. So let me first just explain to you and let you understand who will be operating this. I'm not somebody here that's applying for somebody. This is because I see a need, right? I'm a clinical scientist, medical technologist, and a veterinarian. I used to work on the human side of things for a while, but animals are my first love, right?
I thought you were saying they got some blame.
So I've kind of made the transition. You can move to the next slide. I'm going to be going fast, right? So I'm accredited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and some of these other things, Georgia Vet Medical Association and the AVMA, which is the American Veterinary Medical Association. So I've had experienced lots of work in emergency medicine, and I also try to do things to help the community, right? Could move ahead. So for me, I've been in Rockdale County for 12 years, and I noticed a lot of things changed, a lot more people, a lot more traffic. So, you know, I was curious about that, so I took a look. And as you can see from the chart here, the population in this county continues to grow. Right? You could move a slide. Thank you. Right. Really, the mission of this practice really is for public health purposes. As the population increases, right, we have more animals coming in, and as we take away the natural habitat for some of these animals, then we increase the likelihood of some of these wild animals getting into contact with the general public, right? You can move along. There's something called the One Health Initiative that brings together human health, animal health, and protection of the environment. And that's something that I'm a part of, and that's something, it's a global movement, and that's something I'm trying to promote in Rockdale County, right? You can move ahead. Right. I'll just summarize all of this. So we did some calculations, and we understand that, you know, about 51% of Rockdale County residents, they have a pet, right? We could move along. And so we estimate that there's approximately 12,000 dogs, about 8,000 cats that are in homes, right? Owned by the residents. Could keep moving. So the concern then becomes something we call zoonotic diseases, diseases that are passed between animals and humans, right? You may have heard of like rabies, the rabies virus, right? That's the one that people are most familiar with, but there are lots of other diseases that could go from animals to humans, and that's one of my biggest concern, right? I was almost attacked in the said building, right, by a coyote, right? So I went in there and didn't know coyote was there, and I had to run, right? And I've also there are a few stray dogs that actually came on the property, and one lived there for about a month. Don't know what happened to him, but he was there living for a month. Don't know where he came from, but he tried to attack me, right? And I've been seeing more of this. Up to last month, there was a stray dog there. Don't know where it went, where it came from. But the incidence of this, it's happening more and more where I am, right? And I'm seeing more stray animals in the neighborhood. And it's a big concern to me, right? You could move ahead. Right, so one of the things that we could do to help just, the possibility of someone getting a zoonotic disease is to provide good health care to the animals, right? Also to teach people about the risk, right? And take preventative measures, which includes proper vaccination of the animals, right? And teaching people about what's a threat to them when it comes to wild animals and some of the signs they need to look for to know that this animal may be sick, so that the appropriate authorities can be contacted, right? You can move ahead. One of the biggest care of rabies in Georgia is going to be your raccoons, right? They also carry a type of worm that could cause great harm to humans, but most people don't know about it. And what makes it even more dangerous is that your dog could pick this worm up, right? And it's easier now for a human to be infected, and it causes lots of problems, blindness, neurological problems, coma, and it could lead to death, right? So we have to consider that, in the area, that now that we're having more people in, and these animals, we're taking away their natural habitat, that we're increasing the chances of somebody being infected, right? Next slide, please. And approximately 1 year ago, I looked this up, there was a rabid fox in the area, and it was confirmed that somebody had made contact with this rabid fox. So this is important. As I was going through this presentation, my wife reminded me that about a year ago we saw a fox running through the yard, right? So told her we don't know if that's the fox, could be, but I don't know. But Rockdale County is a relatively small county, right? So the risk of one animal causing disease in multiple people, especially as the population density gets worse, it's a high risk, right? Next slide, please. Right. So I go back to rabies here because it's a real threat, right? The population of Rockdale County, just by my research, I don't know how correct this is, but I got it from a reputable source. It's about 90,000, somewhere around there. And then, throughout the world, right, approximately 50,000 people die every year because of the rabies virus infection. That's half the county dying every year. Right now in America, we get cases, right, even in Georgia, but the reason we don't see this high number of cases is because of the health care we provide to the animals to protect the humans, right? And we will need more of that in Rockdale County. Next slide, please. Right. You could go through all these slides. This is just a list of diseases that we could get from animals. It's a lot, right? So I won't bore you with all this. So you could go through all of this down to the end of it. It's, if you want to get more information, this is from the CDC website. So it's easy to access, right? So there's a lot of it, right? So the property is 14.2 acres. It's a farm. It's a registered farm, right? You could see there on the picture to the left, the building there, that's the old barn that we converted, right? We didn't change anything much on the inside. It was the old stall for the horses. That will be like the examination rooms, that kind of thing, right? But it's a farm already registered farm. You can move to the next slide, please. Right, so, already, it's a farm, so we do have animals already, not a lot, right? But we are allowed to have animals. So for me also, having a clinic there, I could better take care of the animals I have, right? I could provide care to animals in the area, right? So for me, that the ability to do that will also help public health. Okay. Go ahead. All right, you keep going. Right, that will be the entrance of Tucker Mill Road. All right, keep going. And that's a drawing of the plot. I didn't have the time to really get down to doing a great site plan, but if you go to the other slide, they've kind of shown there on the drawing on the left where the parking areas would be. It would actually be behind the building. So if you look up top, you'll see that's the Tucker Mill Road, and the little line you see there coming in close to the building would be the driveway coming in all the way back there, and then parking on both sides, right? And it has enough space to park a lot of cars, but I don't plan to have this lots of traffic going in and out. It will be by appointments only, type thing. Right, we move to the next slide. Right, and that's what inside looks like. It's an old barn, the old stalls that you're seeing there. You could keep moving. Okay, and this is just to show where the vet clinics are now. So in red, most of those would be the vet clinics in Rockdale County now. The little blue circle you see there, closer to the top of the circle, that's where this vet clinic I'm proposing would be. So you can see that within that green circle, we don't have any vet clinics there. So there's a big area there that needs service. Right, the hospital will be an asset to the community. Not only will we provide health care for the animals, but it's really just helping with public health, really. Okay, we'll keep going. All right, it's just to help. We plan to have programs where young ones could come in, young people could come in, volunteer and learn about some of these things, and we'll even do some, they could volunteer helping on the farm a little bit, so that way we're passing this along to the next generation, the importance of this and preserving our environment also. That's about it.
So you do large animals, horses, etc.
Well, we are not set up for that, right? We're not set up to do horses, right? Me personally, I like horses from a distance. I like them a lot, but they always tend to try to kill me, right? But I do lots of the other animals, like the chickens and the goats and all that kind of stuff, and some exotics too, even the snakes. Which we have quite a bit on this property, which I try to protect the black snakes.
Yeah.
Because they're, so.
Good snake.
Yeah. All right, any questions at all?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Make a motion.
Nobody to speak, I'm assuming? All right. Looking for a motion then. We've got some discussion. Do I hear a motion to
Mr.
approve
Chairman?
with conditions, on the 7 conditions that the county has laid out?
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to, regarding special use permit 2024-04, to authorize a special use permit to allow for the operation of veterinary services. To approve the authorization to use a special use permit for the operation of veterinary services with the 7 conditions.
All righty, we got a motion to approve with the 7 conditions. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Al seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nope. Thank you. We're good to go. Item R10.
Yes, sir. So what the last two items are just text amendments. So the first text amendment is the initiation in partnership with the Board of Education. This is a text amendment from the county staff to amend 222-11 parking vehicles in residential districts to allow commercial vehicles to be parked in a residential district, provided that such a vehicle owned by the Rockdale County Board of Education or any private school licensed by the state of Georgia. Currently, there are some existing bus drivers that live in residential areas, agricultural residential, R1. They're longtime bus drivers for Rockdale County Board of Education. It was made note to code enforcement that buses are not currently allowed to be parked in these residential areas. However, we do have a number of them right now that are currently parked in residential areas. So therefore, staff is working with the Board of Education to allow those current buses to stay parked there, as they are long-time bus drivers, but they will be soon transitioning or retiring. So therefore, staff this find is amenable to amend the not text amendment, but the county ordinance to allow for the bus drivers to currently park their vehicles, but as soon as they transition out, we can amend later on in the future.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Again, this is just to allow bus drivers, buses. So not any other commercial vehicles, just buses owned by the Rockdale County or a private school.
Okay, I'll make it, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve item R10 TXT 2024-02.
I've got a motion to approve text amendment 2024-02. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
And the last item on the agenda is a text amendment 24-03. This is a text amendment proposed by county staff to amend section 106-1 regarding trade schools, cosmetology and barber schools, and trade school, apprentice, training, and other technical and trade schools. Amend for section 218-1 table of permitted uses. So staff is looking to include into the new table of uses trade schools, cosmetology and barber, trade schools, apprentice, training and other technical and trade schools, and training and other technical trade schools into the table of permitted uses. So as currently, these permitted uses would be allowed in office institutional, mixed use industrial, C2, office business park, and light industrial. That is for technical trade schools, including cosmetology and barber schools, while apprentice training and other technical trade schools are allowed in C2, office business park, OBP, or M1 light industrial. Again, as currently we do not have a defined definitions for these uses, so therefore staff is presenting these to the Planning Commission to create these uses, because we do have a potential a truck training program. However, that use is not created in our current ordinance, so therefore we are looking to create that in this current text amendment before you this evening.
Does that impact persons doing hair or in their homes, or is that not permitted?
No, that's totally different. Again, this is a cosmetology school or a barber school, okay. So that's different. So those so you're not allowed to do any type of hairdressing inside your private residence. That's the state law as well too. But this is just actual school for those who want to go to school for cosmetology. You'll be able to just start a school in these zoning districts and allow people to learn the cosmetology practice.
Do I hear a motion to approve text amendment 2024-03?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve item R11, TXT 2024-03.
We've got a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
My second.
Al seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. approved.
There are no staff announcements. There will be a planning commission for December. The city does have items.
Are you serious?
I am very serious. Scott left me to make that announcement to y'all, so I'll let y'all know. So there will be a planning commission in December with only city items, no, not county items, but city items.
Oh, come back in.
Can it be after Christmas?
I can only do so much.
What, do you know what is the date?
The date it'll be the second Tuesday of the month, like we always
okay,
do. So we'll be back on schedule.
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday. I'm not saying second Tuesday. Second Thursday of the month. So we'll be back on Tuesday.
I make a motion to adjourn. We are reserved.
I second.
I third it.
Chris.